10:04. And, roll call, Ms. Leslie Ann,
Madam Chair, Dr. Phyllis Martinez.
here.
Madam Vice Chair, Luis Portillo.
Present.
Secretary Mark Dominguez.
Present.
Trustee Kenneth Medina.
Present.
Trustee Dr. Gilbert Sena.
Present.
Trustee Rolando Medrano.
Here.
Trustee Rosalie Ortega.
And she wasn't feeling well today, so we need to think about it.
Prayers for
Yes.
Trustee Ortega and then all of us. Thank you.
Vice Chair, Portillo, could you read the notice of the meeting, please?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, today is Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. This is the regular Board of Trustees meeting of the Luna Community College Board of Trustees. Notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Luna Community College Open Meetings Act resolution. The agenda was posted at least 72 hours in advance of today's meeting at the office of the president and on the Luna Community College website at www.luna.edu. Any person who requires any special accommodation to attend or participate may contact the Luna Community College president at 505-454-2500 or 1-800-588-7232 extension 1000 for assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, and at this time, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Maxine Hughes, can you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion
I so.
and a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Madam Chair, Dr. Phyllis Martinez.
Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, Luis Portillo.
Yes.
Secretary Mark Dominguez.
Yes.
Trustee Kenneth Medina.
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Dr. Gilbert Sena.
Yes.
Trustee Rolando Medrano.
Yes.
Trustee Rosalie Ortega.
Next item, approval of minutes. And I have a couple of questions. Anyone else have any questions on the minutes? Not corrections, just a question. You mentioned that you were waiting for a quote for the mold. Did you get that yet?
So, we did not, we had NIMSIA here and they did do testing last week.
Okay. And the other question that I had says recruitment reports 300 applications. Did you ever find out if that was accurate?
So I did not, but I did, sorry, I will follow up on that.
All right, thank you.
You put it on my, over here.
Anybody else have any questions on the minutes of June 10th?
No, ma'am.
Then I would like to ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the meetings from June 10th, Madam Chair, if there are no changes with what we followed up with.
And a second,
Second.
and a roll call.
Madam Chair, Dr. Phyllis Martinez.
Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, Luis Portillo.
Yes.
Secretary Mark Dominguez.
Yes.
Trustee Kenneth Medina.
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Dr. Gilbert Sena.
Yes.
Trustee Rolando Medrano.
Yes.
Trustee Rosalie Ortega.
Next one is public comment. Anyone on there?
We don't move so, but he's on the agenda. We need some help with the board things.
First of all, executive committee meeting, and I think all the board has their, copies. See, we discussed personnel updates, mainly the BPISS and the associate BPSS. Other employee updates, I thought I yelled
You do.
enough.
You want me to take the one in the back?
Are you okay, Leslie?
They're trying to
Unless there's
work on this.
problems with the
Okay.
links.
All right, we discussed having a new insert for the Board of Trustees regular meeting packets, which would be personnel and employee student recognition, and I noticed that that's in there now. Compliance assurance, we got some information on the audit updates, the capital outlay updates, and the HLC focus visits, which will be November 17th and 18th. We also got information on summer and fall enrollment, which I think is in your packet now. The election notice to the county, which is due July 7th. The board policies, we have to do some follow-up, and the website. Other updates include the New Mexico Economic Development Division planning grant applications, the Attain contract, and that was about it. Any questions on executive committee meeting?
No, Madam Chair.
No.
Okay, next up will be the board audit and finance, Secretary Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues. We, went over a few things, looking at, signatory authority for Dr. Shields. Making that recommendation today to the rest of my colleagues. We went over revenues, total revenues for June 2025 were 11 million, representing 90% of the revised budget. Expenditures, 86%, projected ended balance of 420,856 should carry over. Year-end procurement closures, unfortunately, I guess people have quite a bit of money because they haven't submitted, their invoices to the finance team so they can close that out, but I hope to have that problem someday, so good for you guys. We also, went over cash available balances, student receivables, accounts payable, payroll and benefits. Welding seems to be exceeding 10% based on, fluctuation of which pack they will pick for their, plans of health, correct, Dr. Shields?
That's correct.
Did I miss anything out so far?
Everything is correct, you know, we have some payroll and benefits, that was not originally a plan for. We have made that adjustment in the upcoming, fiscal year, but for this year, there's gonna be some overage.
It's been brought to the finance team to see if they can work on that to bring down that thing below 10%, and it's gonna be kind of hard, but they're gonna try, right? Dr. Shields, that's what we discussed as a
Absolutely.
subcommittee, so. Also restricted grants, construction in general. We have the action item at the bank, we will be, I believe, adding Dr. Shields, and are we removing it, Madam Chair?
No.
Dr. Montoya is gonna still stay on there?
She was never on.
She was never on there, okay, perfect. Other was,
Yeah.
so, as further ado, I consulted with my chair, and it is fair to say the F-23 audit is complete, Dr. Shields.
Absolutely, you have it before you.
I don't wanna take away from you and the work that your team has done.
Thank you.
I'm not the guy that shows up or, that's the cheerleader on the sidelines, I'm the one that's in the field doing the work, so, I'll let you represent that when you give your presentation. FY 24 presentation updates, the finance team is actually working on the FY 24 audit as we speak, that is ongoing. I believe the day after or even before that, you guys had already been, engaged in that, correct, Dr. Smith?
That is correct. Sure, let me get some.
Also, I want my colleagues to know that I requested a internal, cost summary of what it costs for our board to go to ACC trainings. And the reason for that is to learn our return on investments, what the campus of the board members gain from that knowledge when they go. And more importantly, we have, a monetary amount as for future of what it's gonna cost, and can add an increase and have a basis of what it will cost for the board to go. So that's internal, if anybody wants to request that on their own. That's on them, but it's an internal, it's not for any other reason, but so that we can know as a board, and the board, I wanna say, is doing an excellent job in holding their subcommittees compiled on the same day. As you all know, that when you're the chair of your subcommittee, you can have your meeting whenever you want, basically. So it's important to know to the public, to our stakeholders, and to our constituents, that this board is morally and ethically cost effective to the institution, to save the institution money by compiling our subcommittee meetings. So with that, Madam Chair, I'd like to close out my.
Thank you. And you didn't want to raid on Dr. Shields' parade.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, not today. Not today.
Any questions on the
Thank you,
finance
Madam Chair.
committee report? Anything to add, trustee Medina?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
I think it's covered it all.
Next one is board academic committee meetings.
Okay, we got together on the, 1st of July. There was a quorum, we got together at 1:19. We discussed the approval of the agenda, it was approved. Minutes from last June 4th anyway, the motion was approved. So Linda discussed the instruction and student services. She brought up, the selection of the BPISS. She brought to our attention that there's 18 total applicants. Out of those, 6 were selected for interviews. So, and I will also, I think, you participate in the open forum with LCC staff, so we discussed that. We also discussed, the interviews, and I'm sure that some of the interviews have already been, taken. There were, the interviews were July 7th, and of course, I think the 10th and 14th are coming up. So that means interviews.
Thank you, trustee Madrano. We ended up having to reschedule the July 10th, because of conflict. But I think we have that scheduled for next week as well. So anyway, it's delayed a little bit, unfortunately.
So those were the, BPIS, interviews. Also, we discussed, in our meeting, we discussed personal updates. The new board of trustees regular meeting package were also discussed. Review the list of recent separations. I think we had a couple of employees that left the institution. We also discussed the chess financial aid position and worked to assure that we had a good ground support. I think that was brought up. We also, it was brought to our attention that Karen Torres will be taking the CTE director position. Would that be, is that gonna be a permanent, position?
She was, thank you, trustee Madrano and Chair Dr. Martinez. Karen Torres had been hired permanently into the CTE director position in March of 2024 and came up as the interim VP last year.
Okay.
So she's returning to that role.
We also discussed, Ms. Maxine Hughes taking the interim BPISS position. Now, is that how was that temporary or?
Yes, she's retiring at the end of July.
I think we discussed that.
You think?
She tells me that that's true.
That was brought up.
We don't wanna let her go.
Nope, we do not.
Yeah. Also, we discussed student services updates, the school contract renewed the additional few months for financial aid, which is, something that, Dr. Bender brought to our attention. Also discussed the review enrollment comparison report for, summer service semester. The census of June 23rd, how we compared in, June of 23rd to, this, the most present one, noting that she did bring to our attention an increase of 179% or on the head count, which is, it's great to hear that, the head count. Also degree seeking head count doubled from 73 to 145, and that was good news. Also the total credit hour production of 181%, or it went from 977 to 1386. Also, we discussed enrollment challenge for fall semester, planning and process, and we discussed the athletic students. I think as I mentioned, we brought up that all the athletes have been enrolled already. And then the last one, the fiscal year 23 audit has cleared, and that was one of the most, it was significant. The audit has cleared the state and will be presented at our coming board meeting today. I think that was good news. That was cleared and presented. Other updates, no additional updates. We closed the meeting at on Tuesday, the same day, so we adjourned, and that was the extent of our meeting, regular meeting.
Just as a point of clarity or correction, Rosalie Ortega was not there.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But that's all.
You're right, yes, on the minutes at the, present, it says Rosalie Ortega. And she was not present.
She's listed in the not present category below the determination of quorum.
But above it
No.
says Rosalie Ortega present, and then it
Yeah.
says not present, so you just
Two
need to
two
scratch it
places.
out.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez.
And it
Anything
doesn't
else,
say-
Dr. Seda?
No,
Okay, it
I'm
doesn't
fine, thank you.
actually say that Dr. Senna was present, so you just need to fix that.
Noted.
I see how you did that, Leslie, and you put
Oh, that's
the
right.
members and the president, who was present at the meeting, so that doesn't fit what she is talking about.
Yeah, no, I will correct that before we get to committee meeting next month.
Thank you.
And I would also like to agree that enrollment increase is great, particularly for summer, when we usually have very low enrollment. Let's hope it continues for the fall, and let's hope instead of 140 graduating, we have 180 graduating.
I would love that. I would love that.
From 80 to 140 to maybe 180.
There you go, that's a good goal,
We
we're gonna
can-
put it all over campus.
Yeah, and we can add it to our wish list for sure.
Yep, I'm gonna add it.
Thank you. Any questions regarding the academic committee meeting?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Then, trustee Medina, facilities chair for the facility committee minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we did have our facilities meeting on Tuesday, July 1st at 9 a.m. And present was myself, the chair, trustee Luis Portillo, Dr. Carol Linder, president, Dr. Gerald Shields, Matt Grego, April Sandoval, recording secretary. In discussion, we had some updates. I'm gonna go to one of them that I really like that happened was about the demolition of the building. Did you see that building?
There's no building, no building.
So that was a great deal that happened. Roofing inspection, walkthrough of admin and tech buildings, missing like 15 to 20 pieces of roof panel, which I think might have been done by now. Or they said in 2 weeks. Roof inspected, past complete roof and ordinance with roofing plans. General studies of northwest buildings above warehouse, classes and maintenance entrance. Athletic roof, 6-month project. project. Media Arts, deep silver pro panel, lower lay pro panel. All should be complete within 1 year as requested by insurance. Progressive Roofing has 193 days and to finish all buildings. Completed walkthrough Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, ensuring roof colors match current roofs. We were busy, I'll let you guys know. Demo project, like I said, was done. Land for area to meet current MEC capacity according to higher education. Financial maintenance, Stocko, replacing student services and administration building with NR to seal windows to repair leakage above server and registrar. Small business building had sewer and water damage, insurance will cover some, Laguna has to cover drainage and pollution fix, sewer, insure caps and vents, Progressive is fixing the roof. I don't know if Dr. Linder will talk a little bit more about that, but we're thinking of demoing that too, right?
Okay, we'll have to see if we do it. People have said that I shouldn't do that, so that is a decision that will have to be made.
Food for thought. Concrete sidewalks need fixing, encourage grounds to use side by side instead of driving trucks. They purchased some side by side so they don't have to be driving on sidewalks and here on campus. It's a lot lighter of a vehicle or do this, UV, maintenance to better roof drains needed. These other, Dr. Linder, Springer Stocko is done. Santa Rosa HVAC's done. Still trying for the 103,000, or do we have that, Dr. Linder? For Estado
Yeah,
Engineering?
we finished that.
Is working with insurance company and industrial hygienist and an additional elevation on mold. We just talked about that a little bit. Insurance, smoke repair, damage in general studies.
Oh, you know, that really should say that, insurance will repair the damage in general studies, but they're not gonna repair it until after the roof is done.
Oh,
So we need to correct that, because they are gonna repair it, but they need to have the roof completed first.
oh, so are you gonna have you cancel that?
No. No, they're gonna repair it. It's just they don't wanna repair it until after the roof is done.
Brianna and Raymond have both moved into humanities. Robert Archuleta, President Inders, request of June 2nd, 25 for capital outlay. Joe Bonds update, ADA, technologies in both. Build-up and Allied Health, makes President Wolf and Chief of Staff are lobbying to get new resident halls. MOU between Highlands and LCC for 60 rooms, but need 80 rooms. LCC will partner with MHU in helping for additional resident halls.
That was just my comment. I don't know exactly how many rooms we need, but we definitely need more than 60. So,
Okay.
anyway, I'm gonna circle that right there, so we need to do an assessment on that.
For the athletes.
I understand, but.
Not just the athletes, because other students can live there as well.
And then,
So you don't have a nomination yet,
Number.
a number yet, though?
We haven't, I just had met with the chief of staff, and they have a team, a lobbying team for the new residence halls, and I had talked to President Wolf about being part of those discussions, because I think if Highlands is lobbying for new residence halls, that we could support that with our numbers and do different things like that, and so, I just want to be invited to those meetings.
So is it a solid number, President Linder, that's asked for and then a buffer of?
I haven't been, there is not,
There hasn't been any
so when,
communication?
no, I have not got any communication.
Okay.
What I just said
Thank you.
was, currently, we have 60 rooms, and I think we need more than that. So there has not been a number, but I actually think that we could probably fill more than that as well. But I haven't been invited to any of those meetings yet.
I'll invite you.
I need you, okay, invite me.
Also, a concern was brought up, the Springer after-school program only having one gender-neutral bathroom. There is supposed to be a door instead of a wall. MOU with the city of Springer, there was a change order issued, but door was never installed. Due to lack of funding, Dr. Ginger needs to speak to Mayor of Springer for changes.
What he's referring to is that they, and what trustee Medina is referring to is that, when they set up that rec center, they did some renovations, and they were supposed to leave a door open, a door that connected, so that the, individuals that were using this gym were able to go to the restroom, but instead they went in there and they did a wall, solid wall, to block off the students versus the gym. So now it left only one restroom, and so it was originally the women's restroom, so now they're having men and women having to use that one restroom.
And actually, children.
And children, well,
Why doesn't it turn into a family
men, women,
restroom?
children.
Why doesn't it turn into a family restroom with a locker? It's a simple solution.
Trustee Dominguez, oh, I can't, anyway. Trustee Dominguez, it's a bathroom that doesn't have a door like that.
They have stalls.
So, but I think that there are things that we need to do to look at that area to see if there are some things that we can address with that.
And this was all under President Martinez, that he, I'm not sure what MOU, what agreement they had, but it was originally supposed to be a door and not a wall. It was a wall instead, so
Who was that?
I'm not sure, President Martinez.
Oh.
And the mayor.
At the time, yeah. And so I'm not sure if he ever even looked at it or what, so anyway, President Linder's gonna be visiting with the mayor regarding it.
Also, Trustee Portillo's mentioned that, the outside wall in Springer Main Street needs repainting. Santa Rosa could use touch up also. Rudy Duval would be the last time, I don't know, I think he's retired now.
Good job.
Luna pays all utilities to Springer City Building. Painting of LCC rocks, paint received, solar lights needed, staff will complete by August 1st. That's the.
Side of the mountain over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This way?
Yeah,
It's
east.
that way.
East. By the interstate, right?
Yes, by I-25.
Okay, and then I thanked,
See, I'm not from here, I can't.
I was thanking the maintenance crew for filling the potholes as you're coming up to Luna. And thank Dr. Linder for filling up the Fourth of July parade, which, was very good, and appreciate the time, volunteer time doing that. And that's about it, Madam Chair.
And if I have
On.
one thing, I mean, it's just, and there was just something I missed here, that, we're getting updated codes, or, I guess, the maintenance are getting updated codes for cameras and Springer.
So did the golf
We need
cart
to-
run?
It did not. I walked.
So it said president and then.
I
it wrote
won it.
down.
Well, apparently it's not operational, but I did not know that there was a golf cart that had the word president on it. So I learned that, and now, so then we talked about putting the golf cart on a trailer, and then I could ride on the trailer. But Friday morning, I just walked, and it was fun. But you never know, by homecoming, maybe we can get
I can get you a
some.
And-
horse.
And the
Or
golf
horse.
cart,
Do you have a horse?
I'll get you one.
Okay, there you
and,
go.
and the golf cart is Luna Properties.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, we have 2 golf carts apparently, but I did not know we had one that was that said president.
so, I just wanted to mention that demo project, the foundation was 3 feet thick, the old days, for sure.
Where concrete was cheap.
That's when concrete was probably $30 a yard, $20 a
Yeah.
yard, cause it's 210 now.
Can you imagine the cost of that?
210 a yard.
Concrete's a luxury. Madam Chair, before we
Questions?
continue, if I
Yes.
may. Trustee Mena is in Vice Chair for Dios, are we looking at cameras at all our sites, or the other sites already have? Or is Springer the priority now?
No, I believe everybody has a bus sprinkler.
I'm sorry?
I believe they have a bus sprinkler.
I don't
Everybody
think
has
that
plus?
Santa Rosa, I'm not sure that Santa Rosa has it yet, so.
No, it's just, I'm just
Yeah.
curious, you
No.
know, that way
Yeah,
we
we
can ask-
doing it all sites. so-
They were supposed to have installed them like a year or so ago, and now they're going back to both, so I'm not sure.
The company went out of business.
Oh, that's right, the company went out of business, and now they're going back.
Okay, just,
So, yeah, they don't have any.
cool,
But I
thank
think
you.
they do.
That's it.
And I don't know about Santa Rosa.
So I had one question on other updates, year out delays. Is this in addition to the 1 million?
No, that's the one.
Okay, so this is not extra. I could tell you a story.
You want it in the minutes?
How come you give him the valet fee, Madam Chair, and you carry the hot rod fee? What's going on with that?
Hey, look at his expression.
Johnny, don't worry, we got you covered.
I was asking, Dr. Linder about the golf carts, and there are two of them, and I know one of them belonged to the foundation, correct, Lawrence? So, you guys still have that? Or Dr. Linder, you guys donated it?
We just donated to the college.
Oh, okay, and you both with the Walmart?
Was it running when you donated it, or you just?
It
Clean it
ran,
up.
last time we ran it to a parade. The charger's the only thing that needs to be fixed for the batteries, but it's brand new batteries and, it's in good condition.
Thank you.
Any other additions or questions regarding facilities? Committee meeting? Thank you. Thank you, trustees,
Thank
for
you,
your
Madam Chair.
reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for leading us.
Next item is action item BOT work session for post July 15th or July 29th or August 7th. What are the wishes of the board?
Chair, Dr. Martinez, I did hear from Carlos, our attorney, Carlos Padilla, and the 15th does not work for him.
Okay.
So the 29th and the 7th do work for him.
The 29th does not work for me, Madam Chair.
Okay,
I have prior engagements, I've never asked for accommodating dates, but I'm willing and flexible to either come on the 7th or miss it.
So August 7th it is.
okay. Dr. Sena? Fine. Okay, the only one I have to check with is trustee
Just
Ortega.
Ortega.
And then I'll get back to everyone.
Thank you,
Okay.
Madam Chair. Does
So
that put a burden,
tentatively-
does August 7th put a burden on anybody else?
No, that works.
We're
Dr.
gonna
Sena?
have to
That actually works
change
better.
the action
Trustee
item to
Navarro, is
read
that-
dependent on.
No, it was August 7th.
That actually works better for me.
Well, we got the Belmont on the 6th, so you can make it on the 7th.
Okay, so then the action item would be to have a Board of Trustees work session to discuss policies and the Open Meetings Act. And, for August the 7th at 10 a.m., dependent on trustee Ortega's confirmation. So can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Did you get that, Leslie?
Yes.
And a second.
Second.
On the 7th, it is.
Unless you
Including
can't,
Leslie,
then we'll go
okay.
back to the drawing board.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, the next item is new personnel and employee student recognition, and thank you, Dr. Linder, for this.
I think that we have that
Thank you.
separate now.
Yes, me too. I like this.
Who made this choice?
Leslie.
Oh, well, I figured.
Okay,
I had some help, she added her finesse to it.
Don't make it better, she didn't help you one bit.
so, I helped, I was supportive.
You gave her the go-ahead.
Well, I gave her information on there. So, okay, Thank you, Dr. Martinez and fellow trustees, well, not fellow, but trustees. What you will see in the packet now is this additional insert where we have highlighted new employees, but then, and which we were previously putting into the agenda. And I appreciate Trustee Portillo's sort of suggesting that we do this as a separate insert. And we actually gather a lot of this information and share a lot of this information during the month, and so I think it's good to sort of put it in the packet. So we do have one new employee this month, Carmelita Trujillo, and so she started on June 2nd in Santa Rosa. We do still have a number of vacancies to be filled, and those are listed there in terms of accountant. These are sort of long-term. We did have resignations in our financial aid, and so we are looking to fill those positions as well. We've been working very hard on that. Some different short-term options that we can do for that. We did have a number of separations, and those are listed there. And we're on page 9 of the packet, if everybody saw that in the packet. And so some people are leaving in July, and those dates are noted. There is one additional separation, is Julio Romero is, I don't remember his last date, Jeff, next week?
No.
Next Monday.
Anyway, yes, he has decided to take a position at Highlands, so
That's a big loss.
I know. He may come back, you never know. Anyway, we did have a farewell for Lisa Benson that Craig Bellows organized. That was really nice, and we had a number of those different things there. So in terms of staff and student recognition, Leslie did pull these out. They previously sort of were buried in the board report, and so we've got several that have come up. And Valerie Thompson was recognized, but she actually started the month before, right? We recognized her at the previous meeting, but she is there. I do think that I did include the people I just saw. Going on to page 10, I do want to just kind of point out the people that got shout outs we had 20 nominations of people that they said that people felt were living out the values and the guiding principles of Luna Community College there. And so I just really want to name those publicly because I think that they don't always get the recognition that they should get. So Andrea Lucero, who's in our admissions and recruitment, Anthony Lujan is a new custodian who also finished in our cosmetology program, Ariel Toombs, who's the administrative assistant in CTE, Chris Chavez, we all know Chris Chavez, he helped out a great deal while Matt was gone, Cristino Griego, Denise Fox, Cristino who is working on the culinary and does Luna Eats with Crystal, Denise Fox, who's always participates in everything and really has done a great job. Elaine Montano, who's our longest serving employee, Eric Wright, our Allied Health Director, Gloria Ortiz, our Academic and Career Planning Director, Justin Garcia, Procurement Director, who really has gone above and beyond over the past 2 months, helping out everybody at the end of the year, but then on taking a lot more role on completing some of the capital projects. Karen Torres, who served as our interim VP for the year, Leslie Garcia, who got a special shout out at Huddle, and while I was gone, I don't know why they did it while I was gone, they could do it while I was there, Maxine Hughes, Rico Raines, Tycee Jackson. So anyway, I think that that's really important. I did list the people that stepped up to help while Matt Griego was out, and those are listed there as well. So in addition to Chris and Justin, Estelle, Leslie, Loretta, Dr. Shields, Norman Senna, and Michael Salazar. We have talked about this and I put it in my weekly reports, but Denise Fox got a small grant through the foundation Luna Smiles to offer free dental services and free cleanings. And so she started that last week, and she is doing that, and her idea was to do 4 a week, and I think she was so exhausted last week, she said she might go down to 2. But you can schedule and scan that, so if you know anybody that needs free cleaning services, use that scanning thing. And Denise Fox is also, has taken over and really excelled in doing shout outs for each week, we gather shout outs. And I just included all of those, I'm not gonna time, and it's kinda hard to read some of them. So I
The
apologize
second
for
page
that. The
only.
second page is the one you can't really read.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is something that I started actually, a couple years ago, and then Denise took it over when I went up as the VP of Finance, and she's really taken it above and beyond and done these great, little designs here, so. Anyway, I think it is really important to recognize all the work that people are doing, and again, all of these come from people on campus, and Denise gathers those every week, so, anyway.
Good to see that these are over and above.
Yeah.
And I would like to also double shout out to Chris Chavez, because I've been noticing the stucco and all the stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Under his direction, so,
And not to
what-
mention-
What, Dr.
If I may, Madam Chair, before you say it, let me just say it, and he's from Mora.
I wasn't even gonna say
No,
it,
you were.
Dr. Sen, I had to add it. No,
She was
not
not.
because he's from Mora, but because he's doing an excellent job, as all people from Mora do.
We heard it.
Thank you. On this dental services, are these income related?
Not everybody's grateful.
So, Chair Dr. Martinez, so the goal is, what Denise would like to do is to offer cleanings to people that don't have, dental insurance or dental care. However, she is not, if she's got an opening, she's taking it. So she's not like doing a screening for people and saying, do you have it or not? So.
And
She's
what
not
about
asking
the
the question.
children at the daycare?
So, I can't remember, do you know, Maxine, about the children at the daycare? I think that they know about it, but I think she talked about that, but I don't know specifically that she's doing, cleanings for children at the daycare.
Yes, Madam Chair, do we provide since we have a dental program, do we provide fluoride or toothbrushes and toothpaste and promote general health at the daycare?
Yes, they
We
do,
that
yeah.
already.
So the dental assisting program every year goes and does dental health training at the preschool. And our nursing students go over as well.
Awesome.
We have really great, interactions with the
That's
kids at
awesome.
the preschool, and they go over and they have like a big toothbrush, and they have this big
Tooth.
horse thing with, doesn't have very natural teeth. But anyway, so yes, they go over, and the dental assisting students actually do that, and the nursing students go over and do the preschool as well. So
Thank
it's
you.
very, very nice interaction with our students at the preschool.
Thank you.
I think parents would enjoy that.
And I don't know, I have mentioned this before, but the cosmetology students are also doing haircuts for kids at the preschool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So,
Next item, thank you very much for that. Next item is the FY 23 audit report.
Chris Connor's on there.
Mr. Garner?
We have the, Dr. Shaker.
Kira, could we?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it possible for, the share to be enabled so I can share my screen and the PowerPoint presentation I have?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Mr. Garner, good morning, how are you? This is Secretary Dominguez.
Good morning.
I'd just like to ask you a quick question. Is there any reason why you did not come and present live to the board? You guys have come in the past, and I was just, curious, was the scheduling, was it timing, I an FY 23 audit is pretty, pertinent information, and I don't know about my colleagues, but I would have liked to have, discussed this live, but nonetheless, you're on Zoom and we'll move forward.
So the reason I didn't come is when I had been requested to make this presentation, I had a conflict later,
Oh, okay.
right after lunch, and so I couldn't make it up there. Otherwise, I would have had to decline because I have previous commitment.
So what you're saying was lunch is probably pretty good compared to the FY 23 audit presentation.
So.
That's how much work it does.
We talked about, we didn't wanna postpone it to August.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gardner. I appreciate that, but, just text me where you're reading so I can know where to go. Thank you.
Did we get the option to share?
Yes, he has to actually
Not
make
yet.
a request to share a screen and then we'll accept it.
He didn't, oh, he doesn't have to, all she needs to do is go under the share and say all participants. If she just goes to that carrot right there and says, no, not to that, cancel that, and then go to the carrot right next to it, to the right, and set all participants. There you go. Then he can share. Thank you.
Perfect, that's working.
We're ready.
All right, can you see that?
Yes.
So the presentation I have here, a couple of the trustees were at our exit conference in June. It's just some highlights from that exit conference, going over certain required communication that auditing standards talk, or require that we talk about. So the very first thing is, I'm gonna go over, is the actual standards that we have to follow. In the state of New Mexico, we not only have to follow the top two boxes, which is just regular auditing standards, but we also have to follow what we call government auditing standards. And that is because the state audit rule requires us to do every audit in the state of New Mexico under that government auditing standards, or more commonly referred to as the Yellow Book standards. And so I'll kind of explain in a moment why that happens. So under the top two boxes with just regular U.S. auditing standards, the top left box, what we were hired to do is express an opinion on your financial statements. And so what that means is we give, and you'll see it in the top red box, we give what's called reasonable assurance. So we definitely cannot look at every transaction. We pick statistical samples, we look at internal controls, but we're not testing, every transaction that runs through the college. And so when we give our opinion, we're stating that the financial statements are what we call materially correct. Well, what does that mean? What that means is if you were to give your audit to a banker, there could be errors in the numbers because we don't look at every transaction, but those errors are not going to be significant enough to change the opinion of the readers of the financial statements. And so if we give them to a banker, the banker, those errors would not affect the banker's opinion on the financial status of the college. And so that's what our responsibilities are under just regular auditing standards. On those top two boxes, when it comes to internal controls, technically all we have to test is one transaction from each significant cycle. And significant cycles are things like cash disbursements, your payroll cycle, the cash receipts. So those types of cycles, accounting cycles, technically we only have to walk one transaction through and we've met those top two boxes. Well, the standards require or want us to do the Yellow Book audit, or the state auditor does, because they want us actually picking internal controls and testing those significant cycles. So if we look at the bottom on the left, what we're doing is we're testing internal controls and we're going through and we're picking samples, but we're not picking big enough samples to give an opinion. What that report talks about is how we're testing internal controls above what regular auditing standards require, and then we have to communicate at the bottom right what we call significant matters. Well, state audit rule kind of changes the Yellow Book audit a couple of different ways. Number one, they add 21 items that we potentially could have to test based upon whether or not you have that activity. Things like procurement, we've got to look at use of credit cards, travel and per diem. So there's additional items that the state audit rule requires that we test. And additionally, on the bottom right, that significant threshold is actually removed, and it's, the threshold basically taken to the ground floor. If we have any findings in our state, the state auditor wants transparency, they want them to be reported to boards so that you can deal with them. And so any findings, it doesn't matter if it meets that threshold that I have on the slide or not, state auditor wants them reported in our state. So we have more testing to do in New Mexico, we have more transactions to look at, and we also have more findings because of the threshold that the state auditor has adjusted. So those are two of the standards that we have to follow in performing the audit. The next slide is talking about the results of the audit. So we issued what's called an unmodified or a clean opinion. Our opinion states that the financial statements are what we call materially correct, and that they do meet the standards, we call them GAAP, or generally accepted accounting principles, that we have to follow. And so this is exactly the type of report that the college wants to receive. So this is a good thing. So we did give a clean opinion on the financial statement audit. In conducting that yellow book audit, and that's the one on the left, we did have some exceptions as we went through our testing of internal controls, and we'll talk about that at the last part of the presentation. The slide or the box on the right is talking about the federal single audit. Because the college receives more than spends more than $750,000 of federal funds, we have to do a compliance audit over those grants and make sure that you're meeting the compliance requirements that have been established by the federal government that they have us test. And so pretty much every year, student financial aid is one of the ones we test. And so we go through and make sure that we're meeting the compliance requirements related to student financial aid and any other programs that we select testing. We do give an opinion.
Excuse me, I
Go
have
ahead,
one
I'm sorry.
question. So the 21 items are things you have to look at every year, or just selected items?
It's a basis, Madam Chair,
So-
I believe that Dr. Shields is gonna get us, correct, Dr. Shields, I've asked you for that?
Right.
That's what that
But-
is.
Yeah.
But what I'm
And the yellow book.
asking, are the 21 items must check? Or you select from those 21 items? This
I'm
question is
sorry,
for Mr.
I'm
Gardner.
hearing about every other word.
So,
I'd like to know, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'd like to know if the 21 items are must check, or if you select from those 21 items.
So those 21 items listed, and it seems like, I know at one point after we had the exit, one of the trustees requested that we send what those items are. I think you're looking at those. So those are potential items that we have to look at. Not all of them are applicable
That's
to the
exactly my
college.
question.
So those that are applicable, we do have to pick samples and test those and look at the internal controls over those items.
The only one would be the Public School Finance Act that wouldn't. Otherwise, most of them probably need to check. So nothing outside of those 21 items, or you might check other items as well, including the 21.
So I think if I'm understanding the question is, so we also pick samples of like cash disbursements, we'll pick 25 that are outside of those 21 items. So we'll test your cycle over cash disbursements, we will look at your payroll cycle, and we test your payroll transactions. And then we also do those 21 potential items and pick samples out of those items that the state auditor requires that we look at.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem. So, the one I'm talking about right now, the federal single audit, that has nothing to do with the items that we just talked about. We actually have to test internal controls over your federal spending, your federal programs, and we do issue an opinion. That's the second opinion, that is ours. We gave a clean opinion or an unmodified opinion also on the compliance testing that we did over the federal programs. We could potentially have findings that relate to the federal programs, but we did not based upon our testing. So the results of the audit, both opinions are unmodified, exactly what you want to receive. but we do have some findings that are reported in that yellow report that we'll talk about at the very end. Difficulties encountered performing the audit. With the transition of personnel and cleaning up your trial balance, it delayed the audit. I'm sure you all are aware of all the situations that have happened. I think back in 2022, the financial records stopped being reconciled, and the college has been trying to get caught up ever since then. So, getting a clean trial balance with cash being reconciled took quite a bit of time, and so that did delay the start of the audit. The next slide is talking about adjustments, and we did have quite a few adjustments that had to be posted. Here's a listing of those. Cash and accounts receivables, we had to also adjust capital assets. Your pension and OPEB is one that we're gonna have to adjust every year, because the way that auditing standards and really how you budget and you maintain your internal records, you record those expenses as you pay them. However, once a year, the state of New Mexico goes through and does an allocation of the $6 billion that ERB is underfunded, and you get your allocation of that amount. And that's a liability that's really kind of out of the college's control, because you pay what they tell you to pay, and it's really not an issue of your contributions that it's underfunded. It's just that the state of New Mexico hasn't, their assets are not sufficient to cover the projected amounts that have to be paid out in the future. So that particular adjustment is one that we will have every year. The accrued payroll and comp absences is also another one that has to be done at year end. At June 30th, we have to make sure that we accrue, even though some payroll's paid after the fiscal year end, we have to accrue part of that to show it, because the services will provide it before June 30th. And then comp absences is your vacation time and things like that have to be reported at year end. And then we had some adjustments related to your net assets or your equity. So we did have quite a few adjustments, and so those did affect the audit as we went throughout the audit process. The next two slides are very similar. If we have had disagreements with management, we would have to let you know. And if we did have disagreements with management, and they went out and consulted with another auditor or accountant, I call this opinion shopping. If they would have gone out and tried to get somebody else's opinion that conflicted with us, we'd have to let you know. And again, that didn't happen. The last two slides are related to findings. These 4 findings were resolved during our 23 audit. So in the prior year, there were 4 findings that actually got dealt with, and they were removed. So the first one is the internal controls for the foundation, the financial flows and reporting and the reconciliation processes. They did get those implemented. The next one was we had some problems with some cash disbursements, as we were talking about earlier. When we tested the internal controls, we had some exceptions in the prior year. The third one that was resolved is the return of Title IV funds. That was a single audit issue where we had certain timing that those funds needed to be returned and they weren't, and so that one was resolved in 23. And then the last one is pledged collateral. That actually is one of those 21 items that we talked about earlier that the state auditor requires us to look at. The state law requires you to get 50% collateral from your financial institution for any amounts that are not covered by FDIC insurance. And at June 30th last year, there was not sufficient collateral, and so June 30th of 23, the current year audit, there was, so that finding also was removed. So there are 4 findings that were removed. We have 3 findings as a result of our testing, and I think all 3 of these were repeats from the prior year. The first one is related to payroll, and what it did, what the issue was, is that your payroll calendar was, in essence, paying employees before the services were provided, which is not allowed by state law. So, for example, if somebody started on July 1st, they might have got their first check July 5th for a whole 2 weeks, but they only worked a few days. And so the calendar was incorrect. I know that's been adjusted. I'm not sure if it's gonna be FY '24 or FY '25, but I know on a go-forward basis, that has been corrected. Financial close and reporting is kind of related to the adjustments we just talked about. You know, I know they're still going through trying to get FY '24 reconciled as far as cash and all the transactions, in the new system, that getting them accurately reported. And so that is one that I know is still ongoing. And then 2023-03 is the late audit report. Again, that is based on one of those 21 items. You know, the audit had a due date that we did not meet, and so we have to have a finding related to the lateness of it. 24 has already been due, so that one again will also have the same finding. And so those were the 3 findings that we had based upon our testing. With that, I'll open up to any questions that anybody might have.
Any questions? I already asked mine.
Thank you.
The only question I have is for Dr. Linder, and, is it gonna be a priority that the balance sheets, that the bank accounts are reconciled every month? Because I think what was happening, other things were happening before that, and the reconciliation was last. Has that changed so that it's a priority?
I think that, Dr. Shields can address that. Thank you.
Madam Chair, you're absolutely correct. That is a priority that has to be undertaken, and I've addressed this with my team, and everyone is on board for that. And so as we are reconciling with the old system, Genzabar, and putting in with the new system, it's a little complex, but we are definitely have a plan to move forward and have that as a priority.
Has it happened already, or still?
To a certain degree, it's not fully implemented as of yet because of still learning the new system. And we have part of the team working on closing out the first half of fiscal year '24 for Genzabar, and then another part of the team dealing with the workday starting in January.
So is there someone in particular that you have assigned? I don't wanna know names, I'm just asking a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I just have one question, Madam Chair, if I may. Dr. Shields, is it important that when I received that yellow book that's part of this 21, there was 2 things I had asked you for in that last audit with Mr. Gardner in the executive, in the president's office. It was the 21 items, and there was another yellow book, as was discussed by Mr. Gardner, that was pertinent to rules to follow for audits. Have we obtained that yet, or are we still?
No, I don't have the yellow book. I do apologize if you did request that. I do remember the 21, and I made sure that you had those. But the yellow book, I will follow up and see that you, as well as other fellow trustees, will have that as well.
So I appreciate that, and Mr. Gardner, I thank you for your presentation today. I look forward to seeing you here next time. And I hope lunch was great. I hope lunch is good. I'm fighting with him.
He hasn't eaten yet.
He hasn't eaten yet. So thank you for your presentation, and I appreciate you. And I know it took a lot of time and a lot of work, but thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Dr.
Thank you,
Shields,
Madam
anything
Chair.
else to ask?
No, other than, as stated by Mr. Gardner, there's going to be a couple of repeats simply because of the timing of findings. But we have improved from the previous year. There was 7, and now it's down to 3. But there probably will be a couple, unfortunately. But the thing is, overall operation is improving, and if we can increase our staffing and stabilize personnel that we have, I'm sure that we'll be able to accomplish, what has, been established by President Linder.
Thank you.
Could I add?
Sure.
something? Okay, thank you. Trustee Dominguez, Dr. Martinez, I'm supposed to say Dr. Martinez first and then Trustee
No
Dominguez.
problem.
And, I just,
We're all women and men, we're all created equal, we want to be
Yeah.
first if we're.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
anyway, I just wanna, thank,
Wait,
Chris
serious.
Garner, that we received, I think, the audit from the state auditor on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we were able, Dr. Montoya and I were able to upload that to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse and onto the Easy Audit. And, Chris certified that on Thursday morning, first thing. And I have notified the Department of Education, the Higher Learning Commission, the Department of Education, New Mexico Higher Education Department, and, I don't remember who else. But I have a list.
That was in your report.
It was in my report, but I just wanna, thank, Chris that he did, we did manage that, and also acknowledge, Dr. Montoya's help in doing that. It was not a simple process to do all that, and then I appreciate that Chris checked everything that we had done, so, anyway.
So HED already approved it.
They don't have to approve it, we just needed to, we just need to notify them, and, we just needed to notify them. We have sent it to Scott Eccles at the Higher Education Department, and also Chief of Staff. I think that we need to also then update our IPEDS data, our year-end IPEDS data with our new audit information. There's still some additional work, and then the finance office is working on getting the trial balance and the final things so that we can move that forward, so we can do the FY '24 audit. And I think I saw an email about scheduling a meeting about that. So we're trying to move forward on the FY '24. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for their work, and Dr. Shields.
Madam Chair, if I may have one more question.
Secretary Dominguez.
Seems like I always have questions for these people. President Linder, is it possible to get a cost summary of the audit and its findings and the extra work that was entailed? I would like to know that number and give that to the rest of my colleagues, because I think that the taxpayers deserve to know if they want to know, but more importantly for the board, so we can be conscientious of what we're doing and where we're going.
Okay, so we did, the quote that, PB&H gave us for the audit is what we paid them. We didn't pay them any additional funds.
Okay, so then it's pretty
they-
simple, we can get that number at the
I
next
mean,
finance
that-
committee meeting or whatever.
Yeah,
And I
so
can
we
relate to
did
the
not,
rest of the
this is something we had discussed, and, they have honored the amount that they had put in.
Well, thank you.
I don't remember, do you remember the exact number, Chris, off the top of your head? Me neither, I can look it up, though, we have it on the RFP, we have it on the contract, because we have to sign the contract with the Office of the State Auditor, and if it turned out that it came back and PB&H said, okay, this has been a lot of extra work, we're gonna need to charge more, we would have had to get our contract modified.
Well, it was my understanding that it possibly could have been more, because you have an initial scope of work that's put forth for the audit, for Patil and Brown. And then they have to do this other stuff as far as the audit, findings, go back to whatever they gotta do, reconcile. So my assumption was there was additional work, so I just wanted to know that if there was, and more importantly, if there's not, I wanna know what the cost was.
Did you hear all that, Chris?
I could not hear all that, no.
Okay, so what Trustee Dominguez was wondering was he recognizes that there was a lot of additional work that needed to be done by your office to help us in, like, when you talked about the additional reconciliations and cash adjustments and different things, and he wanted to know if there were additional charges to the audit based on that.
To the institution.
Did it cost us more? So it costs us more in terms of time that our employees are spending on that, but we all get paid a salary no matter what,
No matter how many hours.
no matter how many hours we're working. Except for we do have some people, I mean, it did cost, we can get you that information, maybe an estimate. We do pay, Dr. Montoya on contract. And so what we paid to Dr. Montoya on contract, we could get you that, but the auditors did not charge any additional cost of what they had originally charged us for the audit.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Garner, and I just need to be, and I believe my colleagues feel that we have to be conscientious of taxpayer money and where it's going in the right direction for the institution, because more importantly, if our audits aren't completed, it impacts the students. So, thank you for your time, thank you for your generosity and not charging the institution more, and, hopefully we can have you lunch or something next time you come. Thank you, Mr. Garner. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Dr. Shields, wouldn't it be on this list, the budget?
It would be a summary, but it wouldn't be a breakdown, but I believe
No,
that
but
determined
I
the
don't
maintenance.
find it. I found legal services, but I didn't find,
It's the budget for paying the audit, I think, is in the VP of Academic Affairs. under
Right,
professional services.
it's not broken out for identifying,
Right.
but we can get that information for you, including any contractual workers that, spent, time and expense for it, so, just let us know how soon you want that information, and we can provide it, or we can have it for the next meeting.
thank you, for the next finance committee.
Convenience, Dr. Shields.
Finance committee?
Finance committee will be fine.
Yes, ma'am, it will be.
And I'll get that information to the rest of my colleagues. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Garner. Thank you, President Linder, Madam Chair.
So thank you. If there isn't anything else, we'll go on to the next item, LCC Foundation Quarterly Report. Mr. Quintana, thank you for this.
I know what you wanna say, Mr. Quintana. I didn't think Mr. Jimenez was gonna ever stop talking, but you have the floor now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Since we last saw you, we had, two events that we held. We had our annual awards banquet, and, we had a full house over at, Charlie's. It was a really good banquet. A lot of people we had a lot of good feedback, a lot of good people were recognized, and, it was chaired by, Sylvia Martinez. She was the chair,
She's from Mora.
she is. So she did a lot of hard work. She made the event look absolutely fabulous, and it really did a lot of good promotion to Luna Community College because we were able to speak to the public. We had a lot of people that came in from out of town to attend this event. And because of that, we're going to apply for two things. Because it's during the time that we do graduation, we are going to apply for lodger's tax so that we can really market the graduation and the awards banquet to make it a bigger success than it has been. So that's just one thing. And then we had a swap meet. And we took a risk with swap meet because we've worked a lot of times with Anthony Baca on other things, car shows and stuff, and he wanted to chair and do a swap meet, and it was really successful. We had a lot of people that came in from Albuquerque, from Texas, out of Amarillo, and so we had a lot of people, a lot of vendors. It could have been better, but we just didn't really have the concept, and we could have planned it a lot better. We're gonna continue that, and we also wanna do that in the satellites, because I think it would, we were talking to some people at Santa Rosa and Mora, they wanna do something similar. And so I think we're gonna follow through and on our strategic plan, we put that we're gonna reach out to the satellites and do those type of events because I think that would be a way of reaching out to the community and the people in those areas. So those were two successful events. We did get a base account. We made about $5,500 for the awards banquet, and probably a little over $1,000 to $1,200 in the swap meet. So those were successful events, and we had a lot of good sponsors and a lot of good people to recognize during that time frame.
How much did you say the, awards banquet?
About $5,500.
And the swapping was 1,000?
It was a little over 1,000.
And the 5,500 includes, that's after cost or?
No, if you look at the total, cost, we raised about $10,000, and then we had about $4,000 in expenses, roughly.
That was for spick and span, Mr. Quintana?
Well, spick and span, we had, the awards, we had, a lot of different things that we did to make the event. Plus, we do get people with meals, but we also pay all of the people that are getting awarded, their meals paid for, so there's no cost to them. So those expenses, were roughly around $4,500.
So the cost was 4,000 to simplify things, the cost was 4,000, we spent about 10,000, so our return was
About 5,500.
500.
Make,
Yeah.
make 10,000. Make
Yeah.
a total of
Well,
10,000.
Yeah, we were able to receive through sponsors and other things over $10,000. And then with expenses, awards, different things that we did, printing, all that stuff, we ended up with around 5,500.
Thank you.
So I did submit a strategic plan to you. It's very generic, and some of the reasons why it's generic is we really haven't established a lot of baseline over the past 3 years, but we're starting to get there. And we did it for 3 years because this board serves really 2 years, and we didn't want to reach out too far in advance because there might be new board members coming in that might be affected by this. As far as the investments goes,
I'm sorry, Lawrence, I don't think that we have the strategic plan in the packet.
It's right here, strategic.
No, those are the strategic goals.
But
of
no
the
plan.
institution. No, those are the strategic goals. of
it's a
the
matrix, and I can hand that to you. I apologize.
institution. Those are the
And I was
strategic
just
goals.
gonna ask where exactly it says satellites, because it's not on there. And the objectives.
It was not, it's not in the packet.
Thank you.
Thank you for providing those numbers, Mr. Quintana, I think it's important.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
So this is not, complete, it's just a basis of what you're gonna be going off of?
It's got goals.
Yeah, but so it's generic.
This is a strategic plan, a matrix format. And the reason we put that is because, right now, there's some information that, we're gathering to make, more decisions or more, baselines that we need to establish. This is the first strategic plan that I've really been involved with. There's been one other, but I was a member at the time, and it was in a similar format as this one. But it talks about the general components of us. We do investments, we do events, we manage grants, and we issue scholarships. And then to let you know what the employees are providing, we want to increase those, because right now, we have 22 employees that are actually donating. We need to reach out and start getting them more active and participating in the foundation. I know that part of that is we want to give them recognition for and do drawings once a quarter where they're recognized for their contributions and their participation in anything that they do. We do get a lot of participation in our events, and I do want to thank all the Luna employees who do participate, because they are very committed to seeing Luna succeed. And then outreach, that's ongoing. One of the things that we do with the awards banquet, we're trying to locate our awardees and welcome them back. And a lot of times, we have them actually participating and sponsoring the event, so that becomes a success if they start participating and giving back to the foundation. The one thing that I wanted to say, we are going to be working with Coach Randy on a homecoming this fall, and so we're working with him on putting the initial plans for that particular event so that we can start recognizing our athletes and all the alumni to come back and participate in our homecoming. With that, if I have any questions.
Do anyone have any questions besides me as usual?
I think you answered my questions. They were to see what the cost was, and you already answered all that one, so I thank you for that. But you already knew that was coming, so.
I had written down under 3-year strategic plan, objectives and activities, provided that. And I just thought a comment, if you were to reach out to the thousands of Luna graduates to give $5, can you imagine how much money you could raise? If there was some way you could access a list of graduates?
So when I initially came, we got a list, and we sent out approximately 300 letters. And what happened is all the addresses, because we haven't maintained it, so we had a very poor, so we're having to reestablish that contact and establish these things. When we have the award banquet, people sign in, we recognize people, and we're starting to build that base contact so that we can send letters out.
Probably email would be best instead of phone calls or.
Right, and so a lot of the email addresses change, and so one of the things what we do is, we're working right now with a registrar, and she's working to establish that baseline for us and help us build that up so that we can do that activity.
Okay, and I have another question on the greenhouse project, that's the one at the daycare?
Yes,
I was gonna ask you about the smiles, but you've already given us information. The other thing is, I think it's really great that you're recognizing Phil Martinez for the scholarship fund.
yes.
He did so many things for Las Vegas. He isn't from
I
Mora.
was gonna say, is he from Mora?
No, but our names are similar. He used to call me Tokaya. You know what that means, Dr. Linder?
What does it mean?
Same name.
Same name, Tokaya.
Any other questions?
No, Madam Chair?
So satellite campuses, yes, don't forget, there's 3 of them.
I know.
Rosalie isn't here to campaign for Santa Rosa, but
I am.
Louise is here for Springer, and I'm here for more. Thank you.
Well, that'll be a continued thing, because I wanna reach out and be part of those communities, because I visit them and I wanna be part of them because they're part of us, so that's,
Yes.
it's important. Thank
Like,
you.
the Fiesta Parade is coming up pretty soon.
Right.
And if you can get the
Christina's-
golf cart running.
And Christina's doing a great job representing Springer.
Yeah, she's a real hard worker and we really appreciate her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is the New Mexico Planning Grant application.
Mr.
Hi,
Quintana.
Mr. Hageman.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Mr. Hageman.
Good morning, Chairwoman.
Good morning, Sheriff Phil,
He's from Mora.
Dr. Phil
He's-
Martinez and
Well,
LCC
not really. He's from-
board members. I'm pleased to introduce to you, if you don't know, Tim Hageman, Regional Rep from Northeast Front Range Community Business and Rural Development Team from the New Mexico Economic Development Department. That's a long title, that's all my time.
You're done.
I'm done. So last Thursday, Tim invited President Linder and I and a few other people to a meeting with the Secretary of Economic Development Department, Bob Black, to do a presentation and for him to see the area, see some of the projects that are in the planning stage. And Tim will give you an update on how Bob reacted to what he saw and what we're talking about in terms of the 98 acres that Luna has available for development somehow, and what the Economic Development Department is willing to do to help us with that development.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Madam Chair, nice to see you this morning, and Vice Chair Ortiz, I am sorry for your loss and your best friend.
Robert thought a lot of you too.
So, I am Tim Hageman. I work for the Economic Development Department, and I have lived in 2 of the satellite communities, so I'm very familiar with your mission. And today I'm going to give a...
He's my neighbor.
Got it.
And today I want to give a 10-minute overview of what you have before you today. It is a non-action item, but I'm hoping after my presentation that you will make it an action item. So the Economic Development Department is sponsoring a planning grant with the New Mexico Finance Authority. And I brought it to the attention of President Linder that you qualify for $100,000 of planning grant funds every 24 months. So one of the projects that I think is essential to understand what your assets are and where your weaknesses are in regards to economic development. When we look at a community, we want to understand its capacity. And here in Las Vegas, we have very little capacity of large businesses that can support a community college. So we want to bring new companies into your area, such as this. This is a product that's manufactured at D-Bib Business Park here in Las Vegas by B Public Prefab. It's a New Mexico company that makes a wall that is as thick as an adobe and can put it together out in the field. And instead of putting in mobile homes, why not put in a prefab that has the same benefits of the R value of a adobe home. So that's an example of a company that is manufacturing this product right here in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, we have a dark trade program, and that is another reason I want you to be aware of the assets that we have in the community, such as B Public Prefab that could be a partner of Luna Community College. So I have a letter signed by Mark Rupper, our Deputy Director, sponsoring this planning grant. And to go with that letter is a resolution that should be in your packet. And this is something that a local government or a public institution would complete and signed by your governing board. As well as some of the background on the local planning fund is administered by the New Mexico Finance Authority. And this is there is no match, but we want to make sure that you do qualify for the up to $100,000. And that one way of doing that is providing a copy of your budget, as well as knowing what department would manage that, those funds that we would reimburse to the New Mexico Finance Authority. So What we're gonna be, looking at is the 99 acres that is vacant just north of here, as well as the entire campus. We want to understand exactly what assets that could be brought before a recruitment opportunity through the New Mexico Partnership. Many of our recruitment opportunities look for existing buildings. And if you have a vacant building, we want to know about that so that we can include it for a recruitment opportunity. Once the application is submitted, then the New Mexico Finance Authority closes the loan and provides assistance to make sure that you have hired a consultant to do the feasibility study in looking at bringing economic development to Luna Community College, as well as establishing an economic development office. And this is very important for our area because we do not have a person that actually recruits locally. We used to have a Las Vegas San Miguel Economic Development Corporation that represented this area and responded to recruitment opportunities. But this will allow us to be able to have an asset to be able to build upon. Right now, the DBIB Business Park is pretty much occupied totally. We're looking at the airport right now in regards to possibly creating a business park there, but they do not have water and wastewater. So we've got a lot of work to do in regards to cost sharing through our department and through the city. So one of the things that we as a department are bringing to this feasibility study is a site readiness program. And this is an initiative by Secretary Black. And we have hired global location strategies out of the Carolinas. And we're in phase 2 right now of looking at all the local government business parks as well as the private business parks. So we want to identify whether you have all the utilities that are needed, as well as whether it could have a solar site at that location, how close to the substations, and get some information through the San Miguel Mora Electric Co-op. So you're located on this site readiness program this year as Site 4, Luna Community College, and this is a great opportunity to see where you are in regards to whether you can bring economic development to your campus or not. We want to have infill projects within the city of Las Vegas, and that's where they are providing water and wastewater improvements. But we also understand that in the county we have assets that should be considered also. So I've got some background in regards to Senate Bill 169 and 170 that creates this initiative, and it provides a framework in identifying sites. 170 creates an expedited regulatory review process so that we can pre-deploy capital and infrastructure to designated economic development sites as certified by the Economic Development Department. The bill also allows the New Mexico Finance Authority to provide low-interest loans to rural electric co-ops to fund infrastructure deployment to economic development sites. So we're aligned exactly where we'd like you to be. It's just a matter of whether you want to take this site readiness program and take it to the next level in regards to a planning grant. So, Madam Chair, I have included concluded my 10 minutes, and I want to focus on some questions now.
Okay, trustee Dominguez?
If anybody else has.
Oh, okay, I have a bunch of questions, but
So do I.
I'll give you the floor.
Perfect.
See if you can ask them before me.
I probably can. Mr. Hageman, good morning, how are you? My name is Mark Dominguez, and thank you for your time and for your presentation. First and foremost, have you consulted or talked with Brianna Baca from our small business development team here at Luna Community College?
Brianna Baca is within my partnership of trusted professionals that I work with.
Okay, what you've demonstrated today and what you've talked about is initiatives, framework, infrastructure, which are all pretty good words. I mean, what I don't see is a plan, a site plan, a utility design, and you haven't said how this monetaries are gonna be spent if we do get a grant. If the state is so keen on putting this forward, they should put the money forward. Are you looking at us doing the legwork and getting this grant and then paying it back, or?
I probably should have asked my question first, because I think he's gonna answer those questions when I ask. First of all, the money is only for hiring a company to do a feasibility study, right?
An economic development plan.
Feasibility study.
Same thing.
Okay. Second, we get a loan from the New Mexico Finance Authority, right? Yes or no?
We're not asking you to build a business park today.
No, but
We're
we get a
just
loan.
asking to do a feasibility study to understand
We get a
where you
loan-
are.
We get a loan for the feasibility study from the New Mexico Finance Authority.
That's correct.
Third, we pay it back from the New Mexico Economic Development, from your agency.
The New Mexico
In a
Finance
nutshell.
Authority is reimbursing you
Right.
for the study.
So you, in a nutshell, what I said is accurate, right? From your presentation, that's what I gathered. I have another question. Are you funded from the state government, the New Mexico Economic, or from the federal?
We have grants that we receive through federal, but our funds come from the state.
So what is the projection in terms of funding from the feds for your agency?
I expect a boom economy in the future
But we're talking about the federal government and the big beautiful bill and all that stuff. What is your
just
projection
recently,
for that funding?
take for instance, many of our industry is based on forest, and they're opening up the roads in regards to having access to the products that we need to get to the San Miguel Wood Park as well as Deep Dip.
I just have a concern, because if we get a loan and somehow the funding out of your program drops out partially, how do we get paid back?
Yeah, our department has nothing to do with this funding. We're
It's
just
from New
sponsoring the
Mexico.
application,
It's,
and you're receiving the funds through New Mexico Finance Authority.
yes, but it's a
It is a
loan.
grant.
It's not federally
It has a
funded.
little.
It's a loan.
It's not federally funded, it's a grant.
He just said that part of their grants come from the feds.
But this
No, this is a
money
grant
came
through
from
the
SB
state.
169. This is New Mexico funding.
Okay, so if we were to borrow that loan, and this is all information, not because we're gonna make a decision today, but this is information for basis for our decision for next meeting probably. If we borrow that money from the finance authority, how sure are you that we will get paid back? Because we don't want a loan for $100,000. We have, debt-free status.
It's really not a loan, it's a grant, ma'am.
It's a grant.
But you said, when I asked you, you said, yes, it's a loan and it's paid back from the New Mexico Economic Development.
No, it is the New Mexico Finance Authority that you're applying for an application for a planning grant. And I have helped more communities in New Mexico than any other.
So you're 100% sure that we get paid?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
I just got one more question.
thank you for clarifying that. Go ahead, trustee Dominguez. Sorry that I jumped in.
No, I think that was perfect, because I was going off into site plans and infrastructure and all legitimate questions that I know.
But
My-
yet
my
we're
knowledge.
only doing
I
a
understand,
study.
my knowledge and my experience, that's what I agree. Sir, do you feel that other institutions are doing this and we're already done it at other institutions? Do you feel that this is,
Good question.
how does this impact our students?
This impacts the students because we're losing 30% of our population.
But that's demographics.
So those future students
Is that demographics?
need this infrastructure and opportunity to bring in industry that will support Luna Community College as partners.
Okay, what other community colleges are doing this right now that you funded with this grant, or because we're in the northern part of the state and we have trees? Is this the only one you're doing or focused on?
I can only talk about Mesa Lands. We helped bring a National Guard building to Mesa Lands as their asset. And then I recruited a company out of Rio Rancho that occupied that building. And that's the economic impact that we try to create. Most of our incentives are wrapped around manufacturing. But we also have the outdoor recreation program that you can apply for,
Like the baseball field.
as well as the technology and science program division that we just created, and the creative industry program, as well as Main Street.
Mr. Hagerman, I believe that maybe today you could have presented this and you could have had free knowledge with the bird's eye view or whatever Google Earth you wanted to use and present it and put a schematic for to present to the board. I don't feel that today was an adequate presentation. That's just my feeling. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your presentation. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Other board members, anything to add?
No, I spoke over.
Trustee Medrano?
So my understanding would be the, not the loan, but the grant money, the $100,000 would be specifically for, feasibility type of, study?
Yes, you qualify for up to $100,000 for the 24-month period.
24-month period? Yeah, okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. And
I don't think, something that he didn't say that I discussed in depth with Secretary Black. Part of the purpose of the feasibility study is determine what the cost of infrastructure, projected cost. Where's the water coming from? What the wastewater is gonna be? Where's the electric coming? What kind of road improvements have to be? Whether we do anything, we have to have that knowledge and that process to know, is that a 1 year or 10-year development process? Secretary Black explained, there are programs on top of programs on top of programs that you get this done, and then you become ready for shovel-ready grant. Then you become ready for the companies that want to come get subsidies. And then when they have a workforce, their employees, our students, for workforce training, get salary supplements. So this is not a quick fix to Luna's wishes and desires. It's probably, we're looking more like a 10-year program rather than a 2-year program. But until you know where the water's coming from, is there solar capabilities, are the wastewater, septics, whatever you're gonna have to do to even use that land for anything other than land. Am I correct?
We
Yeah.
could probably answer one big question right there is water. Go ahead, Doctor.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can say it. I sometimes feel like a doctor.
Yeah, well, see, we don't know if the National Guard water line is big enough to expand, or if it's gonna have to come somewhere else, over the mountain or whatever. But we don't wanna have to pay for that.
That's
If-
hypothetical.
Yeah, but if somebody else is willing to give us the money to find the answers to those types of questions, so then we can make a future for that land. And open that if there's anybody around us, excuse me, that would be interested in development also.
You know, Dr. Thompson, I thank you for your presentation, thank you for your time.
And Mr. Hagerman.
And Mr. I did thank Mr. Hagerman. I just feel that right now, Luna Community Colleges, we need to focus on our FY24 audit. We have other things that are more important right now. And to get this basis and this foundation of this institution, that's all I say, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Can I comment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, trustee Dominguez, and for your comments, and, Tim and Dr. Thompson. I wanna say that it is very easy, we have a lot of things we're focusing on right now, but I think that what Dr. Thompson is saying is that we do need to be looking down the road to say, what is Luna gonna look like, and how can we partner with industries in terms of workforce development? And all of these projects take many, many years. We had a really great presentation that I went to a couple weeks ago at the New Mexico Independent Community Colleges, talking about the length of time it takes for any type of these projects. And the first phase really is doing that feasibility study. And I know that previous administrations have looked at that, but in terms of really where education is going, especially in career and technical, it really is all about how do you partner with industries? How do you partner with other companies to really train that workforce? And so this is something that really would set us apart. And again, this is just the first phase, but if we don't do it, then 10 years down the road, we're gonna be wondering, why don't we have these students? Because we have to grow the number of opportunities that our students have. And the only way, I think that the people that were at the meeting last week, we know that we have to deal with the water situation. And the state is partnering with the city to sort of try to look at some solutions. But we have to bring more industry to this region. We just have to. There's not enough industry here to support people to stay here and jobs to stay here. So it is that's what a community college does. That is what a community college does, and this is just the first step. And we don't even really know the possibilities unless we take this step.
Go ahead.
President Ender, thank you for that comment, and I have to agree with you to a certain extent, but more importantly right now, I think, being in the situation that with past leadership that has put us in this situation, we need to gain the trust back of parents, the community, and the students will come.
We
And
don't
that's
have
all.
enough programs.
What?
We don't have enough programs.
It's
But
like
this-
the dinner
this
menu,
isn't gonna really help us.
it's like a dinner menu, you want a restaurant that has 5 items and they're all good. You have to make what you have the best there is and put up the best people for their careers.
I
Enough
say,
said, thank you.
we just partner with the labs, which is one of the largest employers in the state, to have a building here where we could partner, internships, sky's the limit. But,
Thank you.
Thank you, President Ender. Thank you.
thank you,
gentlemen, for
Mr.
your time.
Hagerman,
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Thompson.
Only my opinion.
Go ahead, Dr. Linder, you're
Okay.
next.
Sorry, thank you, for everybody's patience as we work through this. I think it's a long agenda, but it's been really valuable to hear everybody's input. We have,
So instead of reading the whole thing, could you just?
I'm doing this a team partnership.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, just really briefly. And so I don't wanna take a whole lot of time, but we do have a team partners, consultants who have worked with us the last, couple of years. And I am not sure that the board, or some of the board maybe members have, but I'm not sure that the board members have met them. And so at the executive committee last week, I just asked and said, was there some interest in this? We did extend a team partners contract in light of some of the other changes that are happening with personnel, with financial aid. And so I just wanted to have them go ahead and introduce themselves. And Megan, we're seeing a really, really big you, but then Jessica Smith and Seth are also there. So maybe when you each speak, you guys will also get really, really big. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for your patience this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us. We're
very appreciative of your time. We just wanted to spend a few minutes to introduce ourselves and give you a face to put with our names, and just spend a few minutes with you. So I'll briefly kick it off and introduce myself. My name's Jessica Smith. I'm with the Teen Partners. I've been consulting for Luna about 2 years now, and I've been in higher education, specifically financially, for about 15 years. I'll pass it along to Megan.
Good morning. Sorry you all had to see my face for most of the meeting, but
It's been nice
thank you
and
again for
pleasant.
having us here today. I've been consulting with the Teen Partners and with Luna here specifically since October of 2024. I joined the Luna team, and I've been specifically helping on the Workday SIS project for the financial aid work stream. I've also been helping with implementing work study standards and procedure, helping spending those funds, and other areas of support for Jessica and Seth. So again, thank you so much for having us today. Seth?
Thank you.
Sorry about that. My name is Seth Shader, and just again echo thank you for the opportunity to meet with you, the board. And I've been with the team in Luna for about 2 years alongside with Jessica, and started in financial aid in 2012, very familiar with the community college setting, as well as working with the systems that Luna is utilizing currently and moving into, and so have been primarily working on getting the financial aid software to set up and maintain so that we can process financial aid as smoothly as possible and as timely as possible. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So again, we just wanted to have the opportunity to introduce ourselves to you and, share with you some of the areas that we've been working on. They're just a brief highlight. In addition to what Megan and Seth mentioned, we have been supporting Luna through the audits. We will continue to do this while we're on board. We'll also continue to support the students and help the on the ground staff get adjusted and help them become, a strong liaison for that face-to-face opportunity with us. And there's a multitude of pieces that go into the operations of financial aid, and so we each play a critical role in making sure all of those happen. Specifically, we have reporting, and we assist in iPads, BizApp, just to name a few. And as Seth and Megan mentioned, they each have been very involved in the technical side and support for Workday, both the implementation and then just the maintenance of the current system, so that when that data does go over, it is as clean and accurate as possible.
Can I ask a question?
You're the boss, you can.
What, but I'm just wondering if she's finished. Let's see, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You said everybody has a specific job. Can you give us each individual's job?
So, we don't have specific jobs per se maybe in that sense, but in what I mean by that is, for instance, Megan does work, so she is the lead in Workday for the financial aid office. Seth does all of our technical operations as far as anything that is system related with both GenSpar and PowerFades. And so those are, I guess those would be specialties of what we do. We also are overseeing day-to-day operations of the financial aid office. We're working specifically with NSLDS, which is the National Student Loan Database System, and COD, which is our common origination. And that's where our Pell Grant and our federal student loans come from. Those are some of the pieces that I process, as well as working with students to package them, to review their financial aid, complete verification. So I would say that those are our specialties when I say specific jobs, but we are doing nuts to bolts, the full recipe for the soup. We are doing it all with the assistance of, while we've had on the ground staff, We've worked together with them to really enhance that student experience. And we'll continue to work, with that process in hopes of finding someone who could be a liaison on the ground. We do have our schedule, we have, meetings available that students can click on a link, schedule appointments with us, throughout the week. We all have different times available so that they are, sprinkled throughout the day. But yeah, we don't necessarily have a specific job, but we do have specialties, that we each, work on.
So does that mean that, if a student calls you, and I imagine that goes from the Luna number directly to one of you, somebody will answer and be able to answer questions?
So I can't fully hear you, but I think I can answer the question. We will be, re-evaluating, so in the past, prior to having on-the-ground staff, when a student called, it was directed to us, so it came directly to our phones. We were able to answer those calls and also return voice messages and schedule appointments. That has taken a pause because there was on-the-ground staff, and so we'll reevaluate that and restart that process, in the future if that is, when there is no longer on-the-ground staff.
We're hoping to get it on the ground.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Vice Chair Portillo?
So, Dr. Linder,
Hold it again, a little closer.
after, now that we're losing a couple of individuals, our financial assistants, the team will start taking over again, and
So-
available.
So we have, and a couple, we have, I have signed a new contract with the team to actually give those services in light of the resignations of our financial aid staff. However, we are working to try to still get on the ground support. So the team is the group and the individuals that sort of know our system and have worked in our system for the last 2 years, and they've spent a lot of time in the last several months since Sierra and Callie have joined, actually doing a lot of training with that, and so we just want to make sure that they're available to provide that we still have that continuity. And so that's probably the biggest piece, especially the other thing with the audit. They've helped out tremendously with the audit. When we had last year the finding on the R2T4, the return to Title IV funds, we did, Seth actually did that full audit with that. And right now, even if we look at, even if Sierra and Callie had stayed, they still need additional support. So we just wanna make sure that the students have that continuity of financial aid, but we are trying to figure out a solution that would still have somebody that the students could see. But if they have a question that those people on the ground can help, that we have the Attain partners there to provide that expertise. And even going into the new FY24 audit, that we have that assistance for preparing for that.
You know how I feel about providing student services, I like that one-on-one.
Yes,
I don't like.
so do we.
And I thank the team for doing what they're doing, but I just don't like that part where they have to call and speak to somebody, I just like that personal.
So I totally agree with you 100%. And I was just discussing this with one of our candidates yesterday for the associate VP. Aside from students that are in our nursing program and cosmetology program, a lot of our students never set foot on this campus. And I want more students to be on our campus, but we have a lot of our students that today are really doing everything remote. And they really, in fact, we have employees here that when I have a Zoom meeting that are right down the hall, they Zoom in and they don't come down to the meeting. So people really, I am totally like you, I want people to be in the room, but today's generation a lot of times don't actually they wanna be online.
Mark, can you take, I'm still
Sure.
asking questions. Okay, so how much longer do we have a contract with the team?
I extended their contract for 3 months.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, President Linder, you just stated that the majority of the students aren't even on campus. What percentage would that be that you feel are even doing with the team?
So maybe, so I'm not sure that Jessica, you heard that question. Your question was how many students are dealing with the team?
Yeah.
We have about, maybe they could add, so how many students do you think you interact with on a year?
So I would say that we interact with a lot of students. It's in a variety of different ways. So sometimes it could be as simple as an email communication. But the process, just like a high level overview of a student who completes a FAFSA, that comes into us. So we process their FAFSA. If there's any missing information, conflicting information, anything that isn't 100%, we're gonna reach out to that student. So that's gonna be one of our points of contact. If there's no issues and we move forward with a review for eligibility, we're going to provide them with what's called an award notification, and so that's another point of contact. And then we have students, especially at the start of each semester, that are transferring in and out, and so we're working with them to complete their NMSTTs. And then we're also working with students during the semester to complete their, in addition to their federal aid, to complete their state aid. Then we communicate with students at the end of each semester based on whether they're meeting satisfactory academic progress or not, as well as students who are graduating because they need to complete something called exit counseling. And those, I'm going to say that's a high level overview, so I don't have a number. It's certainly something we could try to put together in the future. But we interact with students regularly. We've also rebuilt the financial aid page, so there is a new financial aid page with more updated information that Seth maintains, so we're regularly able to put little announcements on there. We've also enhanced the delivery of information to the students' portal, and so they can see when documents are missing, what those documents are and how to resolve them. High level, go to this website, call this office, contact us. So they have more opportunities to empower themselves to resolve or connect with us when there are issues. So I do think that we interact with students very regularly.
So the turn back time, what's the get back time once a student fills in a paper and it's missing information? What's the get back time that you guys get back to the student? You have to have the student get into a portal to contact somebody. You guys don't have a direct line person that they speak to?
I think you're asking if when we communicate with students, how they basically communicate back with us?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're able to connect with, so we provide a phone number, not in addition to, there's the Luna phone number, so previously the main office was forwarded to us. It's been obviously taken back, and so I think we'll reinitiate that going down the road. But we each have a New Mexico phone number that we've provided in our email signatures. There have been flyers that have been put out to students, and they can contact us. It goes directly to our cell phone, that phone number. They can email us, so we have a shared email, which is the finaid@luna.edu, and then we each have our own individual Luna emails. And then from there, typically that's when we would triage, a conversation would lead to, let's schedule an appointment. We work with other offices throughout the campus. If someone needs to bring a physical document in and there's no way to scan or email it, we'll work with someone in a different office and say, can you help us collect this form for us?
Do you feel that Attain has helped students not get deterred from enrolling in school, and that FAFSA and all that has to be put forth? Do you feel there's a small percentage that don't want to deal with you guys?
I think that we have helped. I think that students who have expressed that feeling may have expressed that feeling regardless of our work. I think that is not unheard of at other campuses as well. And I do think that there is opportunity for more. So I think that more students could, the more that we can educate them in opportunities like advising, orientation, before they even get into the semester is where we could really service the students in a way that will be more helpful throughout their journey at Luna.
So do you maybe feel that futuristically, that maybe for orientation or data orientation, and obviously you have multiple community colleges, do you feel that futuristically maybe you can come and have student day before school starts and have an orientation and have somebody live from Attain and explain the process? Is that a possibility? I mean, we're paying you guys a lot of money, and I just feel that we talk about, we can do more, we can do more, we can do this, we can send them down a portal. Can we get you here live to talk to our students and have a welcoming, it would be welcoming for the students, they would know process and procedure and I just feel that's a necessity, Madam Chair. I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not a curriculum guy, I'm not an educated man, it's just pretty basic common sense, but.
And based on that, I thought maybe putting out like a fact page where they go to financial aid and it's got information for the students, breaking down the process, what they do next, and how you come into it. So that they don't have to be calling people to ask a question. Would you consider that? And when you put it together, can you send it to us?
So Jessica, can you share the
Yeah,
website? Yeah.
Yeah, we can absolutely share the website, either follow up with this or Dr. Linder, you and I can connect to get that out to them. Most of that does already exist as far as step by step. There are, it's more than just information. There are videos, there are do this, this is next steps. So, we'd be happy to share that. And, we were able to, join some events. We're still working to be more integrated, in those different, orientations and in-service weeks. So we have joined some of those. And sometimes they've happened without, we were not invited. So, we're working to really, create a nice strong bridge with offices across the campus. And we understand we're remote, and that is, not as ideal as everyone would like. But we very much want to be, included and participate in all of the options that are there to get information to students, especially at that orientation time, because that is an opportunity for us to talk to students about doing the FAFSA, which could make
One
it
more
knowledgeable
question
for
before you
parents
go
and
on and on and on. Okay, that's enough. One more question before you go on. Instead of a website that's got a video and another, can't you just make it short, concise, one page? Because kids are not gonna go through this process for 20 minutes. You just need one fact page. And then at the bottom, if you need more information, go to the website. Can you please do that? Because we're tired of the complaints. We're tired. You know, they come to us, they call us. What can we do? We're not on the ground, we can't do anything about it.
Dr. Linder, I will say, I can hear a little bit of what you're saying, and so if we can, after this debrief, that would be really helpful. I'm sure that we can create something that you're asking for.
Okay, let me tell you again, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it cuts in and out, and I saw you said something about one page.
A one-page fact sheet that pops up immediately, and at the bottom it says, if you need more information, go to the portal, go to the website, whatever. Something that's short and concise that students can read in a matter of 5 minutes, because they're not gonna spend a half an hour or an hour going to a website looking up stuff, and they're just not gonna do it. And as I said, we're tired of the complaints. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple more questions.
Okay, go ahead.
We're secretaries, and we just keep going. Okay, so this is for you, Dr. Linder. Okay, so you said you just extended a 3-month contract. What's the contract amount?
I can look it up and get you that information. I think it was about $160,000.
And then what percentage of students are receiving financial assistance?
My understanding is that we have about, a little over 200 students that are receiving federal financial aid.
Thank you.
Well, at one point, it was less than 50%.
So our enrollment is about 700 in the last fall.
Okay, so it's
So-
less than 50%.
But that, so that is one thing that we're really committed to looking at and trying to see what percentage of our students are actually qualify for financial aid. That is one of the reasons that we want to have on the ground support, so that I know that both Callie and Sierra have been going out to the high schools, getting students, making sure that they fill out the FAFSA, and definitely increasing the number of students on financial aid is a huge priority.
Anything else? Trust,
Thank you.
go ahead.
One last
Secretary.
general question.
Thank you, Secretary.
Sorry, trustee Medina and trustee Medrano, I apologize. Here it goes. Thank you for your time and your presentation today. I just have one last question. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Jessica, yes.
What time zone do you work in?
What time?
Zone.
Time zone. We are on the East Coast.
So not in the same time zone as us?
They work on our time zone.
We work around, we are on the East Coast, but, we are available during mountain time hours. We adjust our schedule, so if there is a meeting, if there is a call, we do navigate that.
Okay, thank you very much.
And you said that you're gonna initiate the phone number process again, since there isn't anybody here in the office. When will that start?
So, it can start once the on-the-ground staff has left, and then we'll work with the IT office to update the phone number to be forwarded.
Thank you. Trustees, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for my time.
Then,
Thank you.
thank you very much for your presentation, and, we had so many questions. Thank you for being here to answer those, because we questioned Dr. Linder, and obviously there's only a certain amount of answers that she can provide. Thank you. We may call on you
Thank you.
again.
Thank you.
We may call on you again.
We really appreciate it. If you would like us ever to attend again, we are more than happy to come to any meeting. We're happy if you give us a heads up to prepare information for you. So, we do appreciate you allowing us to join today and taking the time and your questions. It is great to interact with all of you, and we hope that you have a great day.
And the other comment I have is, if we don't stop getting complaints, we will be asking you to come back to our meetings again. So please do what you can so that students are happy and they're not complaining. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Linder.
Okay. I don't know where I start. I start on page, 17, yes. Thank you, Dr. Martinez, Chair Dr. Martinez. I think we've already provided some updates on, several of the items through your report. And also the recognition. I think that you've heard from most of these items in the report. I do wanna just point out that, we do, there's a list on page 18 of sort of community engagement, partnerships, and outreach. I have spent quite a bit of time over in Santa Rosa. I did meet with the Guadalupe County Commission on their meeting on June 24th. I've been over several times to meet with Sharon West and Superintendent Marty Madrid. I did go to Springer. I need to go back and I need to meet with the mayor. I have met with the leadership at the Mora High School. I think definitely connecting with our satellites more closely is a high priority. And there is a lot of stuff that has been happening with the New Mexico Higher Education Department. There are a lot of end of the year reports. We did spend all of our NM Grow money. Mary Frances Bibb did a great job on that. There's great reports from the Area Health Education Center, athletics, contract education. They've had success in students finishing. And the Wildfire Resiliency Training Center has a lot of things that they've been working on, and we've done some grant reporting for that. Dr. Thompson did submit the Title V grant, which I have given in my weekly report. And then there has been a lot of work done in IT. We are doing a rollout of all Windows 11, and a lot of different things have been happening. Denise Montoya was promoted to IT project manager to handle a lot of the different projects we're doing. We're getting a new website. We're doing a new software, in addition to the whole workday, we're also getting new software for non-credit. Trustee Dominguez mentioned before the important work of Small Business Development Center in Brianna. She really has been instrumental in helping the community recover, and they get most of their funding from the state, but they also do have some federal funding. And so the Santa Fe Community College and the SBDC in New Mexico has sort of given us an update on how we're gonna do that. And we still have quite a few people using the Wellness Center and community ed classes happening over there.
I have a question.
So go ahead.
Okay, so I'm referring to page 17 that you did not cover.
Okay, sorry, I was
That's
trying to
okay,
be quick.
That's okay. On the candidates for the that you interviewed here, or that were interviewed, how much longer before you select a VP?
So I have received all the references, and I'm checking on a few other things, and I hope to make an offer this week.
Okay. And then, did you personally do a reference check or HR did it?
So last fall, we actually contracted with a company called CrossCheck 360, which does a sort of 360 review that includes the candidate, plus we asked for 2 supervisors, 2 peers, and 2 direct reports to submit a really comprehensive sort of review with that. And then I also, it is not done by our HR, it is done by this third party, and the candidate puts in their references. Those people get an email, they respond directly, we get a report on that. I'm happy to show you an example of that at some point. I know there were some questions about that third party. It's a really nice thing that's a really 360 review that asks them, it's much, much more thorough than what we were previously doing in terms of reference checking. And
this just started recently?
No, we started it last fall. When Nikki Martin came in, she actually really, that was one of the first things that she recommended, that the way that we were doing reference checks previously was not really very robust.
So then HR doesn't have anything to do with any of this?
So HR actually is they do. So HR is the person, so if I want reference checks on a candidate, so say Dr. Fidel Trujillo, then they put his name into the system as in CrossCheck. He gets an email saying, please give us 2 direct supervisors, 2 peers, 2 direct reports. And then there is a survey, they also answer questions in that. It's a sort of 360 review. And then he gives the names and the emails. But I'm also doing other references that I'm calling and talking to people.
So what is this costing us now if we're gonna be doing third party?
So I can't remember the cost of it, but I will find out.
Thank you.
It was part of the budget that was approved for the HR budget. This is something that went through our budget process, and it was something that was approved. And so in December, we asked all of our directors to actually give us any additional requests for funding for FY24, and then we included it as part of the FY25. So.
Now this is new, I had never heard of this.
So this is actually, no, and so really, this is a really, something that any institution that is spending a lot of time and resources to hire a candidate, it's really important that, and one of the things in my strategic goals is that I really looked at our vetting process for candidates and try to have a more robust vetting process. That is in my objectives under the human resources, and so this was part of that.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Yes.
The testing for CDL.
Yes.
What is the cost of that?
Have a good meeting.
Okay.
Trustee.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye. We'll see you.
We'll see you, Mr. Senna.
I am not, okay, I have been told this. I have been told about the testing. there is a cost that for the student, it's built into what, I'm pretty sure that it's built into what they pay for the course. And we do testing, right now there is not a tester, there's not a tester in Las Vegas, and so we are either testing in Raton or, in Tucumcari. And I will find out the cost.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I have, questions starting on, well, let's see, yeah. They already asked the questions I was gonna ask on the first page, but the second page, where you talked about LCC Honors Maxine Hughes, I would like to publicly thank Jesse Gallegos, because I think he was the one that was responsible for organizing this. And I heard it was a really nice event, and, sorry to see you go, Ms. Hughes. The other thing is, you talked about Guadalupe County Commission meeting on Tuesday, that's on page 18, and met with superintendent, have Santa Rosa High School have access to Luna building to finish and use woodworking. Is there any possibility for dual credit for Luna on that?
That is what we're talking about.
Okay, good.
That is what we're talking about, is dual credit, and access for their students to get, with that, and so that is what we're talking about, and so we're looking at those options.
And down there where it talks about submitted for proposals, one for creating family spaces and the other, and there's SG3, there's
Oh, you know
nothing
what,
there.
you're right, sorry about that. That was actually, I pulled from my weekly report and it was incomplete. And so I had texted Karen Torres for that name, and when I was doing the report, and then I didn't finish it. And so Karen is not here today, but there was one for creating family spaces, and the other one, and I think the other one was for doing workshops for soft skills and hiring skills for career development. And it was to put on a series of workshops for students for hiring skills, interviews, resumes, that sort of thing. So she worked with Gloria Ortiz as part of Career and Opportunity. And I apologize for that, that came out of my weekly report and it was incomplete.
Okay, then, down below Go Bonds, $1.5 million for FY22, is that nearing expiration?
So there's 4 years that we have to do, so we need to move forward on that.
That's ASAP.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gonna be asking you about that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and page 19 on athletics, you talked about freshman student athletes. Is there any way to get us a number of how many New Mexico students are there?
And so I know that Coach Crutch and Coach Wright have really made a priority of recruiting in New Mexico, and because it also helps our students because they have access to the lottery and the opportunity.
Right.
And then they can use their scholarship monies to help with housing, and so that's what I do. And I will get a number, I've been signing all of those letters of intent, but I will get a number. I do know that both Coach Wright and Coach Crutch went to all the state tournaments and recruited, and they have kids coming from that, but they do recruit from neighboring states. They have tried to recruit locally, and the students here who are excellent softball and baseball students here, and they don't wanna stay in Las Vegas.
Well, no, they have to adventure,
They wanna go out
into the world.
So anyway, but I will get a number, I'll write it down, I'll get a number of New Mexico students.
Okay, and the other one is about the golf tournament. If they do some PR, I think they will have a really good turnout, because I heard of a golf tournament about 3 months ago at Penderay, where the students from a certain high school raised $10,000 in a golf tournament. So I think that that's really good. That's probably even something that the foundation needs to
They
look
are
at.
involved in that, they are involved in that.
Okay, and the last one there is about the gloves, free gloves for Luna softball. That's really great, custom gloves. That's a great contract that we have.
Yes.
And let's see what else. Oh, this CDL program with the fire department and with the, for Mora.
And they went to
And
Mora.
with the emergency medical service, really great. We need to get those people CDLs.
Yes.
And, the Wildfire Resiliency Training Center, for a long time, it was kind of at a standstill and in a rut. And I'm glad to see all the work that Mr. Blackwell is doing, that's
With-
wonderful.
Yes, with Wes Schuschman, and having some personnel is really good, and Valerie Thompson joined us as well.
And that's nice because, those are actual measurable objectives, unlike some of your other reports from other people that just say participate, and there's no really measurable objectives.
Yes, so I thought that was
good
great
work.
too, thank you.
And let's see what else. There was something else in the nursing part, but I think that's
That's
probably the
academic,
next.
that's Maxine.
Yes, okay. And that's going to be in her report, I believe.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions,
Not yet, and we'll have some. at the end of her
for
report.
Dr. Linder?
At the end of her report.
Okay, and I'm glad to see the enrollment numbers, those are good. Anyone else? Okay, then, Dr. Shields, you're next.
No, I have an action item.
Oh, okay.
And then Maxine, it's Maxine, so,
Are you done with your report?
I am.
I apologize, I'm so sorry, I thought you were still. So I have a couple of questions for you, President Linder, Madam
Yes.
Chair, and colleagues, if I may, Vice Chair, if I may, have the floor. So, I was looking through your report, Dr. Linder, President Linder. Vice Chair touched briefly on a subcontractor for cross-checkout, which is fine. When you're gonna get a cost analogy on that. Obviously, that was approved by the board.
No, it was not approved by the board.
Oh, it was just professional contract services?
No, it's, we approved,
Part of
it's
her-
part of our budget.
Okay, that's fine, but what I failed to see in here, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see it, but maybe you have it in here somewhere, but I didn't read it correctly, is, as part of your contract, we have a cost summary for professional activities, and maybe it's not in there because maybe you haven't done it.
Is that what your question
Yeah,
is?
as per your contract, you have $12,000, and I'd like to
I
know
do.
if there's anything in there that you've done or that we should get a cost summary about. I'm
Okay.
on a cost summary, I watched Jeopardy last night, and cost summary is my word, $50 word, so I'm gonna run with it all
Okay,
day.
thank you, trustee Dominguez. And, I have in the past year actually done quite a bit of professional development. I did attend the ACCT meeting,
Yes, ma'am.
and I did attend the HLC meeting. And this is the first time that I've attended the HLC meeting since 2019. And so I had not attended the HLC meeting since 2019, and the ACCT meeting that I attended was the first time I'd ever attended that meeting. And so I think that the training I got, there was, as the other trustees that were there and participated, there was a whole day of president and trustee training on Saturday in addition to the HLC meeting. I have discussed before, and, I haven't put it in my weekly report or anything, I do have specific money for $12,000 for professional development. We also have a professional development fund. What I had mentioned to, Dr. Martinez is that I would really like to use that professional development money for the whole campus and not me specifically. And so I have been working with HR and, talking to some different groups, that have done professional development. Trustee Portillo's, gave me a recommendation of, Michael Rivera, and what I would like to do is use that money for actually the whole campus.
So, based on that, the board will probably be getting a quarterly report, and that's in the verbiage. Also, I would like to have, I'm assuming all your VP candidates have already come in, whether they flew in, drove in, whatever. I'd like a cost summary on the VP search. I will be asking futuristically for your assistant, to be assistant VP search, cost summary on that as well. But for now, just a quarterly report, for professional services and activities, and, cost of the VP search cost summary.
For both
For both.
BPSS and a BPSS,
That-
correct?
Yeah, I hadn't asked for that one
Yeah,
because it's
I
not
like
in
that
yet, but
information
if that's okay with my colleagues.
Yep.
I think Dr. Shields has been open-minded and is gonna address the one for the board. And as you stated, you've attended those, President Linder, so, and I thank you for that as well, Dr. Shields. I know it adds additional work, but unfortunately, we have a duty to our stakeholders. Thank you, I yield my time back to you, ma'am.
Anybody else with questions for Dr. Linder on her report? Okay,
I do have one action item.
yes, I'm just gonna talk about that.
Okay.
This is Miss Ann Travado, and, I reread the information. That would be around 5 hours a month of work.
So she has
Cause it's a total of
up to 200 hours.
$14,000.
Up
Yeah.
to 200 hours throughout the whole year. It is under the $15,000 threshold. So, Ann Travado has been working with Estelle Garcia in our grants office for the past year. As you know, we have been unsuccessful in filling a position of a grants accountant. Dr. Montoya originally contacted Ann Travado. She has worked, usually they work on a Saturday. And Estelle has asked that we continue that in the coming year. She's wanted this additional training. This is professional development. We did send Estelle to professional development and grants in April, but she has really Anne has really done a great job helping Estelle with our grants. If you look at our grants module, there are a lot of grants that we have. And we have a lot of small grants, there's a lot of management, it's a whole new system, and Estelle has done a fantastic job, but she is not an accountant. And so.
And the other thing it says is always is student financial aid accounts also. And I miscalculated, it's 16 hours a month, give or take.
So, and usually what happens is that they'll get together on a Saturday and work. And so it's not every week, it's sort of when it works for both. Anne has another job and Estelle does this outside of her normal work day usually.
Okay, so I would like to entertain an action item a motion to approve this action item to give Ms. Travado a contract for not to exceed $14,000 from July 8th, 2025 to June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
And roll call, Ms. Leslie.
Madam Chair, Dr. Phyllis Martinez.
Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, Louise Portillos.
Yes.
Secretary Mark Dominguez.
Yes.
Trustee Kenneth Medina. Trustee Dr. Gilbert Sena.
Yes.
Trustee Rolando Medrano.
Yes.
Trustee Rosalie Ortega.
Okay, Miss Maxine, you're next. Sorry to put you on the spot, especially but duty calls.
I guess so. It called again. I told Carol, I said, well, I'm not gonna be here that long, you know? I just need to go to a while. Well, thank you,
Well, hopefully this will be it, because she said she's going to offer someone the position,
that's right. Thank you, Madam Chair, members, trustees.
and you don't need to read it all, maybe just some highlights, and then I have some questions, I don't know if the rest of the board has questions.
All right. So I'd like to acknowledge and thank Karen Torres for holding the position here for a year as
Yes.
vice president.
And she did a good job.
Yes, she did.
Started out rocky, but eventually it calmed down.
Right, it's a learning curve.
Yes.
And, you know, Dr. Linda already mentioned the 2 grants that she, wrote for and received, so those are listed here as well. She, became an evaluator for CT procurement, RFP evaluator for CT procurement, so she's, taking care of things for her own department as well. For nursing, you said you had questions. Out of the 23 graduates, we've had 11 that have passed as of today. Yes.
50%.
Yep. And, so far, I wanted to mention some statistics for you, just, cause I was curious. I would like to talk about fall enrollment. 2022, it was 41, and that is for both levels, okay, for level 1 and level 3 coming in. For 2023, it was 39, for 2024, it was 50, and for 25, it's 55. So,
2024 was how many?
50,
And now?
55.
Wow, good.
So,
Well,
it's good to
people
see.
have 80.
That's right. Yes, and along with that go the faculty, right? And so we're interviewing for 2 faculty positions, and we have 5 applicants, so.
Great,
That's-
and
that's
we
good.
also have students that are coming from Santa Fe to attend
And
instead of
Albuquerque.
Santa Fe Community College, which is great, that's
Mhm.
something for your program.
Yes, yes.
So you have a legacy.
Yes. Let's see, and your question about nursing, you said?
Okay, I just wanted to give a shout out to Valerie Montoya because you said that she received her MSN, FNP graduate degree.
Yes.
So that's one of your, the people that, your employees, I won't say your employees, but your colleagues and coworkers.
Yes. Yes.
And I have another question about something else. I don't know if you can answer, but I think Dr. Linder can. On the first page 30, it says collaborated with Mary Frances Vick, Dr. Linder to complete and submit the workforce development funds. Those are the ones that NMHED had talked to us about, that had a June 30th. Was that the one? Okay. And so congratulations to Ms. Valerie. And, the Allied Health Services, on page 34, added a CNA coordinator, met with New Mexico Correctional Department to start a substance abuse certificate program for inmates in our correctional facilities, met to start a veterinary tech assistant program, and completed the PLOAs, not sure what that is. but-
Program learning outcomes.
Okay, but those first three bullets is really great because that's expanding our course offerings and things that we used to have that somehow fell through the cracks except for the veterinary program. So glad to see that that's continuing.
So can I just say
Sure.
something about we've had CNA in the past. We used to have a lot of CNAs because it was a prerequisite to getting into the nursing program. And so anybody that wanted to be in, before I started, there were CNA classes happening every month. But the nursing program, when we went to NEMNIC, maybe, they said that you don't need to be a CNA before you become a nurse now. So we have had a lot less, it's been not, we haven't had a huge demand, and a lot of the institutions actually certify their CNAs at their own facilities, and that has been a challenge. But there has been increased interest in that in Santa Rosa and several different areas, and so Andrea Yee is our nursing faculty, and you have to have a nurse that oversees that program. And so when I was the director, I couldn't oversee it. I had Susan Groman, and now Andrea, Eric has been working really closely with her, so I'm really excited about that as well. And then the substance abuse certificate is actually something that our instructor Chelsea Lucero worked on with me to get into our catalog. We have it in our catalog, but we have had a couple meetings with the corrections department. It is not so easy to do that within the corrections, but they have a lot of ideas about that, and so Eric is really pushing forward on that, and so I'm excited about that.
And there's so many other areas that I would like to call attention to, but because we're kind of trying to hurry through this thing. The only other problem I have is that in some of these, it talks about key accomplishments will be included on next report. Future activities will be included on next report. I hate to see that because that means that they didn't finish their report, as far as I'm concerned. So, in the future, maybe they need to finish or
Madam Chair,
leave those sections out because it points to them not completing their assignment, which is prepare a report. And any other
Okay, so
questions?
can I just clarify?
Sure.
That, sorry.
There's a bunch all over.
Well, no, so what we have said for the board packet, and this is just a template that is sent to the directors, right? And so those comments right there, so what well, this is the template that each director is giving. And we ask them to complete divisional activities, and we then say it's not gonna be included in this packet. However, I don't know if Amanda did this packet, or who did this packet? I'm not sure. You didn't do it, right? You don't know. But anyway, that's just a comment that says that we don't necessarily, will not put everything. We're trying to focus on the board packet, having the key accomplishments that are really tied to strategic goals. And people, like even when, early on, people would put 2 or 3 pages of reports. And we said, okay, we want the key accomplishments. That's what we want to go in the board packet. So that comment right there, these will not be included in the report, but will be reviewed, is actually just on the template, and please indicate the strategic goals. And so that's why, I think it's really sort of a formatting of the report.
Well, some says key accomplishments to be included in the BOT report.
Well, that's just the part of the template.
And
So
then
that's
it
just
says
part of the template.
Divisional activities to be included, and then it says future activities. These will not be included, but will be reviewed. So there's a
So
lot of
it's-
missing information or
It's,
maybe.
well, anyway, we'll work on the template.
Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead.
So, Dr. Linder, I know, Cindy Branch is no longer with us, so who oversees the satellites now? What's going on with satellites?
So
I'm not seeing anything unless I'm blind.
there was not a report from the satellites provided this semester, on this board report. And typically Cindy would put in that report, and she didn't put in that report, and, I thought that Karen was gonna get that report from the satellite managers, and she must not have gotten that.
So who's overseeing the satellites?
So Karen was doing that, and right now Maxine is doing that. But this is part of the reorganization with adding an AVP-SS, but right now Maxine has oversight over the satellites.
Yeah, they've been calling me, there's no water.
There's no water?
Well, there wasn't, remember last week?
Oh, yeah, there was no
They
water
shut
last
down,
week.
There's no water.
That's right, at Santa Rosa, there was no water. So right now, because when Cindy left, it went to Karen, and right now it's Maxine.
Thank you.
So the other thing I wanted to also call attention to is the Rough Rider Mentorship and College Readiness Program. Ms. Sherry Goodyear seems to be doing a lot. with
She is
of
doing a lot,
information.
yeah. And she also does the what's happenings, so.
Trustee Dominguez?
Madam Chair, if I may, Vice Chair. And Maxine, I want to extend my gratitude and appreciation for the lives of the students that you've impacted and have put forth with your team and
And the cash that goes with it.
the institution. I want to thank you for that. I'm not going to hold you for any questioning.
You know, his son is one of them.
I know.
He's got a mom's brain, thank God. But this is not for you, but thank you for your time, your patience, your professionalism, your skill. Sometimes you pay people for not their time, but their experience, and hopefully that was well for you. But my comment and my question is for you, President Linder, if you can shine some light. You guys have this STEM Humanities Director, Mr. Christopher Smith, and what I did, getting a lot in the community, I don't know if you guys have, is questions about what happened to our young kids, our robotics program, and stuff that was done when previous directors were involved in here, and I'm not gonna mention any names, but, the students looked forward to that, and I'd like to see if we can somehow, Madam Chair, reach back for that. Students really need a place to go, a safe place to go. They had shirts, they had different colors, security knew who they were, they did robotics, they competed. Those are future Luna students, and whether they be nursing students or CDL drivers or whatever they may be. But
The summer programs.
the summer
that-
programs
yeah.
that we had, Madam Chair, and I would like to see if somehow we can support that as a board, and that's all I have to say. Thank you, Madam Chair. But I don't see any really key accomplishments, thank you.
Trustee Dominguez and Dr. Martinez, We did have a really amazing robotics program for students that was part of the workshop that we had for middle school kids in May that were here. Not as many students came as we had originally hoped from the different schools, but they really had a great experience and they did that. And this is something that Sherry's also looking at, but I agree that the previous STEM and humanities director really went above and beyond with creating some of those programs.
So was that put forth in the report and I didn't catch it? Was it in there in May?
The New Mexico Women in Science, it was in the report that they were there and they did a robotics session.
Was it in our DOT report and I just didn't read it? Well, my apologies, but I'd like to.
It might not have mentioned specifically the robotics, but we had the Women in Science, and they were here on campus, similar to sort of Girls Can. And they had I just talked last week to the New Mexico MESA, was part of this workshop that I went to last week for LAML. And they talked about those activities, but definitely we need to expand those and have those opportunities. And I think a lot of it is, those robotics and getting all that stuff going is stuff that needs to happen out of STEM.
Do you know if we still receive a $10,000 grant from them? Is that, or did we lose?
That was something that that our former STEM director did. And so, my understanding is we didn't apply for those funds, but he was very good at applying for those funds.
Thank you, President Randy. Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield my time back to you.
Vice Chair Portillo?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So
So do I.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, next, thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
One more board meeting.
For all you do, for all you've done, for all you do.
You needed to present for one more day before you retired.
Hey, let me tell you, she's from Laura.
Oh, God.
And I used to work with her mom.
Thank you, Ms.
Yeah, her dad built the parts of our house.
She's a
All
good
the
guy.
interior, yes, I know her well, her mom and her dad, of course, thank you. I'm sure they're looking down at you and proud.
Absolutely.
Yes. Dr. Shields, you're up. And if you could just do a summary, and then if we have questions.
I can
we'll post
be, Madam Chair, I can be as brief as you want me to be brief.
those. Okay.
I can get right back on my scooter and head right on out the door. If that's what you want, that brief.
No.
Can I borrow it?
Okay, Madam Chairperson and Associate Trustees and President Linder, the Finance Division has a report here that you have before you. To be brief and summarize, we had a revenue of $11,176,710, representing 92%. Expenditures were $11,782,000, and representing 86%. And we're looking at a projected profit of end of the fiscal year $420,856. Under our cash balances, you see before you, if there's any questions regarding the cash balances, the student receivables, everything is pretty much a semblance of last year, except for the cash balances. There's a reduction of about $1.5 million because of a project, a roofing project we finally paid that cost the college. And our payroll and benefits is looking at expenditures roughly about 84–85%, which is good, showing that we're keeping within our budget when it comes to payroll and benefits overall. But that is probably due to a lot of open positions. We're having just no real, I hate to use the word luck when it comes to business manager and accountant's positions, but I'm looking at some other realignment of my division and working with the president to try to resolve some of our shortcomings. The audit, of course, for 22-23 you have received. It is final, it's done. As a relatively improvement report from previous years. We are working on fiscal year 24 aggressively, and some of those reports I have here give you a more detailed breakdown of our revenue expenses and transfers, as well as cost centers. There's a couple red lines that exceed 10%, but those are ones that we'll be working on due to benefit changes. And then under the restricted, that is more of a county issue that we're getting resolved with the auditors. And my last request I have for a action item, and that is for my signatory to be placed on the bank accounts. Are there any questions or anything for me? I'll let you
I don't have
refer
any,
back.
does anyone have any questions on the budget?
No.
Okay, then,
I've got a question, what's the time frame for the signature?
Well, it's whenever the board approves, and then I'll take it to each one of the banks to add my signature.
it actually has to be approved, I believe. The minutes have to be approved, and then they go to the bank. So we're talking about a month.
Another month.
So, I'm not 100% sure if that's typically how it works, is that you have to have approved minutes.
Right.
And,
That is how it works.
That's the way they have usually.
but if we have an action item that we can document that this action item was approved, I think that when I went up, that the bank actually took that. So that they said approved, and we said approved by the board.
Right.
And then we had this on record. My recollection is the bank did accept that.
Okay, or a resolution. If we had done a resolution, then it might have been accepted
It's always
right
been that
away.
way.
But anyway,
It's always been
okay.
accepted.
So now I would like to entertain a motion to approve the action item, bank signatory authority to add Dr. Shields so that he can discuss the accounts with the bank.
Signature regular documents.
I'll second.
So you sign it.
That would be a resolution.
No, it's in the memo. This is in the memo. Please.
Well, anyway, you'll find out. Okay, who was the motion? And a second?
Yes.
And roll call.
Madam Chair, Dr. Phyllis Martinez.
Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, Louise Portillo.
Yes.
Secretary Mark Dominguez.
Yes.
Trustee Kenneth Medina. Trustee Dr. Gilbert Sena.
Yes.
Trustee Rolando Medrano.
Yes.
Trustee Rosalie Ortega.
So, next item, thank you very much, Dr. Shields.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next time I'll put you first so we can ask a lot of questions.
Yes, ma'am, I look forward to it.
Put you first, I mean.
Finance committee.
That's what we did the last time, didn't we? We put it first. Announcement, date, time, and location of next Board of Trustees meeting. First of all, will be August the 7th, which will be a special meeting to work on policies and Open Meetings Act. And that's pending, approval by Trustee Ortega. The next one is Board of Trustees meeting Tuesday, August the 12th. And last item is a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Don't say it so fast.
Second.
And roll call.
Madam Chair, Dr. Phyllis Martinez.
Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, Louise Portillo.
Yes.
Secretary Mark Dominguez.
Yes.
Trustee Kenneth Medina. Trustee Dr. Gilbert Sena.
Yes.
Trustee Rolando Medrano.
Yes.
Bye.
Trustee Rosalie Ortega. Louise.
She said yes.
Trustee Portillo, it's my